how to sell final expense over the phone 101, the basics that you absolutely need to know before you start selling final expense insurance. But drop in the comments where you guys are coming in from. Yes, sir. Brian, let's go. So we actually, what Brian was referring to is we're actually growing. The agency is growing. People are coming in, making sales. Like we had a guy that made 2 sales his first day, coming in from Delaware, Minnesota. I love it. So what's cool is actually Brian, he was talking about is our new agent meeting yesterday, getting people started, people getting rocking and rolling, taking their first leads, making sales, helping some families. And so we're a fully final expense telesales agency that's all across the U.S. that we're really just helping families all over the phone. So if you guys are looking, if you guys have or are looking to go and start selling final expense over the phone, this training and this video is for you. So I'm super excited for today. Happy Friday. I'm excited to get into this because a little bit about me. Again, my name is Johnny Nitafan. I'm the host of Friday Fuel. And it's cool because I've been in the life insurance industry. A little bit of backstory about me. I've been in the life insurance industry for, like almost a little over a year now. And haven't sold final expense forever, but my hair's like weirdly hanging right now. I just got a perm. So anyways, I've been selling. I'm leaning that direction. Yeah, I 100% agree. And I'm actually going to drop in the comments some questions that you guys have. And I want to make it interactive to where as you guys are coming in, as you guys are watching, if you guys have any questions on how you can sell more final expense over the phone, drop in the comments and I'll actually be answering those live after I do a little bit of training, and I'll kind of get in some engagement here. So do it. I love it. So yeah, Brian is getting started. He's about to rock and roll, which is awesome. So, and by the way, let StreamYard view your comments below. So, just allow StreamYard, go to the top, let StreamYard view your profile so I know who I'm speaking with here. But this is all about the basics of what you need to sell final expense over the phone. So, I've been in the life insurance industry a little over 12, 13 months right now. Sold over $500,000 of life insurance, all over the phone or virtual. So I've done a little bit of Zoom calls, but mainly over the phone. I've learned from a lot of different awesome people who have taught me how to sell over the phone. And so it's not just one person I can point to, but it's been a mixture of a lot of people pouring into me, helping me along this journey. So again, my name is Johnny Nitafan, and yeah, I've sold $500,000 over the phone, and that's what I'm trying to talk about today. So the basics, right? What is final expense? What is final expense insurance? What it is pretty much it's a basic burial policy. It's a policy that is meant to just cover final expenses. So hypothetically, let's just say Miss Mary, she were to pass today, right? She would have to pay for the burial or cremation that she goes through, right? The final expenses, burial, cremation, funerals, any credit card debts, anything that she may have, any debts that she may have, it's going to cover all that. Sometimes it's a little bit extra, but that's the basis of the final expenses, right? So the whole goal of this policy, we're selling to people who are on fixed incomes, who don't have a lot of money, and who have procrastinated their whole life because they haven't got any insurance in place. They haven't had any plans in place. So most of these people are on very fixed incomes, making less than $1,000 a month, and who haven't planned what they're going to do. They're probably planning hoping that they can get a GoFundMe going, hoping that they can get certain things going, but they haven't planned ahead. They haven't planned to cover those final expenses yet. So this is what this policy is. It's a small whole life policy. So $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in coverage to just pay the final expenses. It's not leaving any generational wealth. It's not like to income replacement. This is just to cover those final expenses. So that's what final expense is. It's just a burial insurance just to cover the burial, or the cremation, funerals, things like that. So that's what final expense is. Now, I've sold term, IULs, annuities. I sold all these things before. So you're probably thinking, why sell final expense? So from my experience, and this may just be me, other people have had other experiences, but what I found is that whole life is a little more lenient. People like the underwriting guidelines. If you're taking 2 blood pressure medications, you can still get approved for a whole life plan. When some carriers, you can't get approved for a whole like a term plan. And so what happened was when I was really selling a ton of term insurance, there was a lot of like back and forth with the carrier trying to figure out, hey, like get the underwriting down, get the underwriting. And I think like personally, that's one thing that I could have worked on. However, it's just something that I've seen from more and more people that, yeah, you can make the sale, but is the client actually going to get approved? Now, what I found is like this is a huge mistake that I personally made, and I don't want you to make the same mistake, is that I came in the industry and I saw my uplines selling IULs, annuities, and that was like the nice thing. That was the thing that everybody wanted to do. That was like the next level, but that like cut my cash flow. And if you guys don't make this mistake, but I went straight to retirement leads 1 month into the business. Horrible mistake. Do not make that mistake. And so you're probably thinking, why should I sell final expense? Well, it's because when you're just starting out as an insurance agent, it's super important to get your cash flow right, getting that daily deposits. And we have this saying in our agency that goes, every day you work, you should get a deposit. You work, deposit, work, deposit, work, deposit. And that's how it goes. You work, get a deposit the next day, work, get a deposit the next day, or the same day, right? Somebody sold a policy last week it was like around 11 Pacific time, gets paid into his account from that policy at 8 Pacific time, or like 7 Pacific. Like, so 8 hours later, he's already getting a deposit the same exact day. So the cash flow is king. When you're just starting out, cash flow is king. So when you're thinking, hey, why final expense? I kind of like IULs. I kind of like building these high cash value things. The thing about those is that when you're just starting out, you need money. You probably watching this live is thinking, hey, I need money like yesterday. I need money yesterday. And so, but IULs, I wanted to do that. Well, it takes a while to go through underwriting, get paid, get the policy issued, and all of that. So it is fancy, it is nice, it's exciting, definitely higher ticket, higher commissions, but it takes a little bit longer, right? So why final expense? Because the cash flow is king. I would just start, when you're just starting out, start with final expense or term. Just start with one of those, because you can get paid within a few days and you get your cash flow right. So that's why, right? So now I'm going to go into a few things that you need to know when you're getting over the phone. So you got to have a pipeline full, right? So whether that's from referrals, whether that's from leads, whether that's from whatever, organically. And so true, other policies take a lot to get paid on the back end completed. Final expense is quick and easy, and you get paid 100%. And so, and you get a upfront commission that you can continue to investing into your business. Now, what you need to know is you have to have a pipeline full, rather than going face to face and selling kneecap to kneecap, belly to belly with somebody, and being able to get that instant trust, being able to like have them trust you there. You have to get trust over the phone. Now, I'm going to get that. That's actually my second point. So stay till that second point, because that's massive. You have to have that trust and tonality. But when you're in person, you can be a little bit more efficient. You can have 10 appointments and close 8, right? With final expense, it may be a little bit different. And the reason why is because when you're one call closing, like top closers are doing about like closing about 40 to 50, like 40-ish % of one call closes, right? So like I took a whole database of me. I track all my appointments, and this is like just a little pro tip. When you're just starting out, track as much data as humanly possible. So track all your appointments, and did you make the sale or no, and why? Because whoever your mentor is, you can go to them and say, hey, I did 10 presentations this week. I got 3 people to buy. These 7 people didn't buy. Why? Oh, you're getting the social security objection every single time. Huh, that's a pattern. Boom. Now I know that's trust. The client doesn't trust you. They're not urgent enough. You didn't build enough value in your presentation. It's called killing zombies, killing the objections before you get them. So track your data, right? Get as much data as humanly possible. So in regards to leads and lead types and having the pipeline flowing, you could have you can do a lot of presentations you can do presentations and you'll probably close more, right? Face to face. Now, telesales, you have to do more of them to get more sales, right? Here's the thing though, in terms of when you start getting good at selling over the phone, you can have a day that you have 0 appointments. That's typically what my day looked like. I have 0 appointments and I'm calling, get the sales, make the sales on the phone. So that's what's different about that, because you could go cold door knocking, but the likelihood of somebody buying is not going to be super high. Rather than calling leads all day, I'd rather make 300-400 dials every single day on like aged leads, because if you get somebody on the phone, it just takes 1 to make that sale, and you can get to a lot more people. Bang, 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 bang. Especially with dialers, especially with technology now, you can get to so many people. So drop in the comments FE if this is helping you. Because that helps me kind of like continue on here. Drop in the comments FE, just final expense FE. If this is helpful for you guys, I really want to make this super helpful for you guys. And if you guys need extra resources on how to sell final expense over the phone, because it's probably not going to be enough here. And I appreciate that, Chris FE. Drop in the comments FE if this is helpful for you. But if you guys need extra resources, go check out my YouTube channel. Let's just look up Johnny Nitafan. It's right here, Johnny Nitafan. Super helpful. I appreciate you. FE, I love it. Yeah, keep dropping FE in the comments if this is super helpful for you guys. But if you guys need extra resources, go subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I have a ton of extra information on there that I'm doing. Literally, a couple of days ago, I did a full breakdown on how you can make $100,000, the exact things that you need to know to make your $100,000, 6 figures your first year, right? So go check that out. If somebody could plug the link down below, that'd be awesome. Just look up Johnny Nitafan or click the link down below to go check that out. If you want more resources, there's hundreds of videos out there for you guys. Yeah, and got hundreds of videos. Super helpful. Thank you, Brian. Really appreciate you. That was awesome. All right, cool. So we got that. You have to have a pipeline flowing, pipeline full of clients, leads, like people to talk to. You need people to talk to. That's the number one thing that you need to know, is that you have to have people to talk to. If you don't have people to talk to, it doesn't matter, right? So when you're just starting out, think about, how can I talk to as many highly qualified people as possible every single day? That's the number one goal that you need to be thinking about. It's not, hey, how can I get on 10, 15 hours of calls of like, hey, like learning and trainings and things like that, which like you guys are the top 1% investing in yourself, listening on how to sell more. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Brian. Go click that link if you guys want more information and be able to continue investing in yourself, kind of like you're doing now. But it's not about, hey, like getting on these feel good calls. Hey, like you guys are awesome. I love you guys. You guys are great. It's like, do the revenue generating activities, do the things that are actually going to make you money, which is talking to highly qualified people as much as humanly possible. Now at the start, you may have to call off a list. You may have to call, like I think of the first person I think of is Joe Camper. And he started by just calling super age, like 5, 6, 7, like calling a list, right? And that's a place to start. But as you continue leveling up, the goal is to be able to talk to people. And yes, exactly. Put the work in, no exception. So you want to talk to as many highly qualified people as possible. You have to have the pipeline flowing, continuing to go. You have to have leads in there. Then I'm trying to get the referral game going. So then it's like, every lead I get, I can close probably one, two, three more sales just because I get a lead. So every lead I get is just triple or quadruple profitability. And that's something I'm learning still now. I still have a ton to learn, but this is what I know. I've had a ton of success on just selling leads. So you have to have a pipeline flowing constantly. Now, there's a lot of different lead times types. There's direct mail, there's live transfers, there's Facebook leads, there's TikTok leads, there's just like digital leads, there's like you name it. There's leads out there. There's people like VAs, like dialers calling out and getting like there's callback leads. There's so many different lead types out there, and I'm going to break down a few that I've had massive success with. The first one is Facebook leads. Have had massive success with those because you can acquire the customer at very profitably. However, here's the downside of that is sometimes you have to really, really dig. You have to make 100, 200, 300 dials a day to make those couple sales. But here's the trade-off with that, right? You acquire customers profitably if you have a good lead type, which we actually have like super great in-house leads. But if you're wanting to have like if you want to keep that pipeline flowing and acquire leads and customers profitably, right? At the start, you have to just put in the work. You have to just start with literally just doing the activity and you'll get better over time, right? So when you're just starting out, that's okay. Just continue to dig. Because here's what my thought process is. When I was broke, when I wasn't making a lot of money, I said, hey, I'd rather dig all day and just be super profitable on these leads than like whatever. Because all you have is time or money. You can't have both. It's either you have a lot of time and no money, or you have money and you want to maximize the time that you do have to be able to close more deals, right? So that's why Facebook leads are great. Now, there's live transfers. Those are great too. Those tend to be more expensive. You acquire the customer at a little bit higher cost, but you're guaranteed a presentation when you get the transfer. So that's another lead source. I wouldn't recommend direct mail for telesales and selling final expense over the phone. Definitely wouldn't recommend that. Okay. So the reason why is because that is for like that's for an in-person meeting. And they're continuing to go up and up and up, more expensive, and guaranteed the people who are sending in those forms are the same people who fill the ads out on Facebook. So if you're wanting to do telesales, Facebook leads are definitely the way to start and the way to go. I would try to get as many age leads as humanly possible, get some new leads in there as well, get a good mix going, and that's where I'd start for that. Now let's get into tonality, right? Drop in the comments tonality if you're looking forward to this one. I got 3 points. This is the second one, super huge, and then the third point, which I'm actually going to get to, is metrics that you need to hit to be profitable selling final expense over the phone, right? So tonality, right? Tonality. It's all about building trust. When you're face to face, you can build, and I appreciate you, Chris, tonality. When you're just when you're doing final expense in person, you tend to be able to get more trust with the client just because they can see you, they can feel you, they can like your body language is everything. Body language is 90%. Actual words communicated is 10%. When you're selling over the phone, all you have is tonality. All you have is your voice. So you have to really train your voice to be caring, like to really feel it in your heart. Hey, like I care about you, Miss Karen. Like you don't have any coverage in place currently. You don't have anything. And so if something were to happen to you, Miss Karen, what is Bob going to do? Oh, like, I don't know, like raise some money, go into debt. Like, is that what you're looking for? Or are you looking for something that you can have a little bit of coverage to make sure he's not left with a big financial burden? You want that, don't you? That's what you're looking for, right? And tonality, you have the care, you have the trust. You like genuinely care for that person. You have the tonality to be able to bring that person in. You're at first, hey, this is Johnny, just getting back to you here real quick. See how it's kind of upbeat? Then I take it back and walk me through this. What would happen to Bob if something were to happen to you? Is that what you were looking for? See how my tonality changes? That is huge when like building trust, building a relationship over the phone, because that's all they have. So you have to emphasize that. You have to emphasize your tonality. Sometimes you have to get like massively, like sometimes you have to over exaggerate it, because I guarantee, like, this is what happened to me, and I like training agents all day, is like people think that they can, that they're like curious, or people think that they're really caring, but it's like you have to like 10x what you think you are to like actually deliver the way you want to deliver on the phone, right? So if you're curious, like, so you're saying that you'd rather have like a 2-year waiting period, something where the policy never paid out for 2 years, rather than day one coverage, even if it's $5 a month extra? Is that what you were looking for? See, curious, tonality, that's all you have. So you want to emphasize that. See how I'm moving my hands, my body language? You can do that over the phone, but your tonality is kind of like body language over the phone. Your words mean something, but your tonality is something different. If I say something, hey, you need final expenses, right? Or, hey, it sounds like you definitely need some final expense coverage. Is that right? It's huge. See, you got to distinguish that. So tonality is massive. Building trust, building relationship. I make sure to give them my information, my phone number. They can reach out to me, right? My state producer number, like my national producer number, I'm giving that to them so that they know, like, and trust me. You have to have that relationship. They have to know you. They have to like you. They have to like you, that and feel that you're actually going to be their agent for life, that you're going to solve the problem that they're looking for, and they have to trust you giving their social. It's not easy. Giving banking information. Hey, I've been burned 3 times before. How can I trust you? What makes you different? That's the question that these clients are asking themselves. So when you guys are selling over the phone, tonality and trust is huge. Okay? So before my third point, I just want to let you guys know, is this helpful? Like, I want to ask, is this helpful? Yep, put a 1 in the chat if this is helpful. Is this helpful? Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if this is helpful. I just want to make sure I'm helping you guys, because this is what has helped me a ton. 1, 1, 1. We see the ones flying in here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. My goal is to help you with this. I want you guys to absolutely crush telesales. And this is 101. Now we got 202 coming up, and you guys are not going to want to miss that. And so, again, my YouTube channel, there's a ton of information just like this one. So I want to get into the third one, metrics that you should be hitting daily. So when you're just starting out, 150 dials a day minimum. 150 dials a day minimum. Top people are doing 200 to 300 a day, but you have to start with 150 dials a day. And when you're just starting out, your activity, judge your activity, don't judge the results. You're going to get better over time. You're going to make sales, a lot more sales later, but judge the activity. I know this is super hard for a lot of people, is judging the activity and not judging the results. Judging the day, if it's a good day, based on the actual activity that you put in, whether that's 5 presentations, whether that's whatever, right? You want to just focus on the activity at first, and the results are going to follow. Yes, you want those right away, but if you focus on the metrics that you need to hit, those are going to come, and you're going to get better over time. And make it a habit. Make it a habit that, hey, every morning at 8 a.m., I'm waking up, I'm doing my self-development, or every day at 6 a.m., I'm doing my self-development, I'm going to the gym. Like, as you guys probably have seen on my Facebook, like, we're doing 75 hard. I got my gallon of water right here. like working out, like I'm getting into the mindset. I'm like listening to positive things to go throughout my day to be able to just absolutely start crushing the day. So I'm ready. I'm going. I'm flowing. We got team meetings right away. We got role plays. All right, let's go. Let's crush it. Now, let's get into the day. Let's start dialing. Let's start hammering the phones. Now you're already warmed up to the day, right? Or just start working right away. Like just confront the thing that you want to do, because a lot of times morning routines, people want to avoid the work when in the reality, you should be doing the work when you have the most energy. So I'm not a huge fan of 2, 3, 4 hour morning routines. Activity is everything. Exactly, Brian. Activity and success will come if you just continue on. So focus on $150 a day and try, like, you have to get to 20 presentations a week. However you have to do that, get to 20 presentations a week. That's what your real goal is, like 20 presentations a week. Maybe that takes $200, maybe that takes whatever. But if you hit, like, that's the magic number, 20 to 30 presentations. Like you want to start off with trying to hit 20. Once you hit 20 consistently, 30 is really, like, 20 to 30 is really where the magic starts happening. You're cash flowing daily. You're getting deposits. You're like making sales. You're helping a ton of families. You're gaining the momentum that you really need. That's where that's like a great week. If you're able to do that, that's an amazing, amazing week. So try 20 to 30 presentations. Get your leads based on how you can do that, how you can hit your activity goals. Because if you do that and say you close, I don't know, 25% of those, you're still closing 5. You're at 20,000 a month from that. But if you're closing 50%, which good closers are, then you're closing 10,000 a week, 40,000 a month. Like that's really doable. That's definitely doable. You just have to get those presentations, put the emphasis on how can I get presentations. It's all I focus on. How can I get more presentations? How can I get in front of more people every single day? How can I get 5, 10 presentations daily? That's the metric that you want to hit. And lastly, the another metric that you want to hit is it's kind of like phases, right? You want to start with the dials, get those down. You really want to go for the presentations, but this next metric is like, how can I scale to 1 to 2 policies daily? Because if you hit that, that's 30 to 40, 30 to 60 policies a month. I mean, that's top 1% income if you're really able to scale to that. And that's what we're helping agents do with our agency, which is really cool. Just selling final expense all over the phone. Like, have the community, like have the people around you to be able to help you out doing it, that already know how to do it, that have already done it. Because if you do what they do, if you want what they want, like do what they do, and you'll be able to get what they got. Super great quote that I love that. Like, get around people who actually know what they're doing, especially like whatever you're doing, whether that's IULs, annuities, final expense, like whatever it is, get around people who actually want to help you, that actually have your interest in mind, and that want to help you scale to 1 to 2 policies a day. Brian, if you find somebody who has what you want, do what they do, and you'll be able to get what they got. Find somebody who has what you want, do what they do, and you'll be able to get what they got. Super great principle of getting around people who are for you, who actually have your best interest in mind, who want to help you, who want to see you succeed, right? So hit those metrics, right? So leads, have the pipeline flowing, whether it's organic, referrals, have constant people to talk to, fill that pipeline. The goal is to get to as many highly qualified people as possible daily. Tonality and trust. Your tonality is huge, and hit your metrics. So if you guys are wanting to learn more pretty much about what we're doing here at Nitafan Financial, DM me the word team. DM me the word team, and I'll be able to get you more information on that. But guys, if you guys need free resources, I'm going to pin this up again. Just look up Johnny Nitafan on YouTube, and I'll be able to help you guys out there. It's the number 1 channel for really insurance value, getting value, learning, consistently learning over and over and over again. And drop in the comments, team, or feel free to DM me. But the constant goal and I'll leave you guys with this. The constant goal is to get in front of the most highly qualified person as humanly possible as many times as possible. If you think about that, if you have that in mind every single day, thinking about how can I do that, you'll be led to success. So hope you guys helped. Hope this helps you guys. I really want to help you guys in any way I can. Reach out to me, DM me if I can help in any way, shape, or form. If you have questions, but I will see you guys next Friday. Peace out.
Very fortunate to be able to be in that position to help enough families secure their legacy. And I don't think a lot of people understand it. When people say selling, I'm like, I'm not selling, I'm protecting. That's how I look at it. So when and people can say that's altruistic, you could say it's too humble. I'm like, it's a mindset to make sure you always do right by the client versus just trying to make a buck, if that makes any sense at all. That's
Yeah.
how I try to approach it. So when I hear people say, "Man, I'm closing, I'm killing, I'm closing, I'm killing," I'm like, half of the time I want to say, "Cool, what'd you write them on? What's their phone number? Let me talk to them." Just because I hate that mentality. And sometimes that's what motivates people. It's not what motivates me though. My mentality is the reward of a hard day's work is a job well done. And sometimes you get your at the risk of sounding uncouth because you've spoken to me enough to know that I say really terrible things. Um, sometimes the reward of a hard day's work is you get your nuts kicked in, but you're building momentum.
Yeah.
That's just how
Yeah,
I look
man.
at it. So, um, yeah, very, very fortunate. It all issued, and a lot of people like prior to this said how, and I'm like, dude, I hunt my people down if they don't make like if something doesn't go right, and it's not because I'm trying to be a jerk. It's because like you need this. I have given you no excuse whatsoever to not know every detail. I have given you everything you need to be able to make sure it's on your calendar. You need this. The last thing you need to be doing is putting your family in a position to set up a GoFundMe. What's wrong with you? And it's not to be hateful, it's to shake them loose and to help them get their mind right. So that's my little soapbox on why I think the way that I do and how I approach it. Like people in FFL and all that, they say top producer. I'm like, dude, call me top protector because that's my job.
Yeah. What when was that? Have you always had that mentality, or is that something that was a mindset switch of coming in the industry? Because I think that's it's really pretty rare. So people say it, right, but it's not as genuine, right? People are like, "Oh, I'm protecting families. I'm closing these deals," right? It's
Well,
like,
yeah, because then you see him
okay,
floss on social media 2 days later, and you're like, "You're full of it, man. You are
yeah, exactly,
absolutely full of it."
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And so,
I've,
yeah, talk
mhm.
through that with us.
I, in everything I've done, I've always had that mentality. Everything I've ever done has always been some form of sales and operations. So, and I think every industry, I don't care what it is. I mean, you could be working at Walmart, but it's systems, it's operations. And you have to treat this like a business. And
Yeah,
I'm going to say this because 8% Nation is here in the Dallas Fort Worth area this week, and I'll be there. Um, and I mean, I'm an adamant believer that if you come into this industry thinking, hey, I'm just going to sell, don't come into this industry. If you don't come in with a mentality to treat it like a business and the clients are your customers and you treat them right, do not get into this industry. Because once I find out you did somebody wrong, I'll take them. Period.
yeah.
That's just how I've always looked at it. I get told I'm intense a lot. I'm sure you thought that during a few of our conversations, but it's
Maybe.
not but there's a purpose behind it, and it's because I genuinely care. I've seen family members not have coverage. My This one's hard. um Last summer I didn't know her very well, and I'll admit that, but um my nephew's stepsister, 21 years old, drowned. No coverage. When I saw the GoFundMe pop up on Facebook for my family, I almost threw up because part of that's on me for not having the balls to talk to him about it. And I will do everything I can to never let that happen to another family. You know, that one hurt.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's huge, and it makes me think of the saying, right? The person who loves the journey is going to go further than the person who loves the destination. And I think like that, being able to like continue on over and over and over again because it's greater than you, it's greater than that commission check. Because at the end of the day, the money's gonna it's gonna come and go, right? But it's like, what
yeah,
impact? How are you able to sleep well at night? Are you able to wake up able to do this day in and day out? And I think that speaks to why you're able to be so consistent and be able to help so many people constantly over a long period of time, because that's the main driver and focus. And so what brought you into the life insurance industry?
seeing all the people doing it wrong. I'm
How do you
dead
know they were doing
serious,
it wrong before you
dude.
got in?
You just the things that I would see on Facebook. Again, I'm the biggest IMO right now, or agency, whatever you want to call it. FFL. You would see these people, and yeah, they're killing it numbers wise, but then all of a sudden, you see them immediately turn around and blowing all that money. Well, then they wash out.
Yep.
You'd see Colonial Penn. God, if I could burn that thing to the ground, I would. Globe Life and American Income Life, same thing, dude. I can't tell you how many clients I helped save from those snakes. And just seeing all that and then digging into doing more research about it was what made me say, I can do this, and I can do this well if I just, don't lube my bald head up and shove it up my backside when the money starts hitting. So that's why I took to it. I wanted to be able to build something for myself and then teach other people how to do the same. Because you've talked to me enough, you know how manic I am about systems and processes. That once everything's really in place, it's turnkey, and the only thing that's going to slow anybody down or stop them is they're lazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you've mastered.
people are gonna watch this interview and go, I don't want to work for that dude because he's nuts.
Guys, this dude's a great guy, even though he may sound intense. He has a good heart, and that's what's really cool. I think what's really impressive about you is that you don't turn off. You don't like. I feel like I'm always hearing like whenever we talk, you're like just got off an appointment, literally right before this, right? You're like literally
Yeah.
finishing up these applications, right? And so
Luckily,
what
this guy didn't
what
have any of his meds with him, so we had to reschedule.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay. There you go.
yeah.
What would you like? What's your advice to a new agent or an agent wanting to even hit 20, 30, maybe even $50,000 a month? Like what would you say to them? Like how hard you work to be able to get there?
Well, man, that's a great question. Because if you say, I want to hit 20, I want to hit 30, I want to hit whatever, you've got to, man. I just sat down, honestly, and we've talked about the rule of three, right?
Yeah.
So I sat down and I said, okay, how many appointments do I need in a week? Family first life. One of the things I'll give them credit for is they said, if you book, because they're one of my IMOs, they said if you book 30 appointments over a 2 to 3 day stretch, right? You're gonna sit 15 to 20 of those, and you're gonna write 5 to 10. And that's just averages. You look at baseball. Okay, people say, like, if I was to tell you that, oh, this guy's incredible, he bats 300. Most people be like, oh, he's a Hall of Fame hitter. Dude fails 70% of the time.
Yeah.
But most people don't ever put that into perspective. Seriously, if you are just consistent, that 30% will pay dividends above and beyond. And most people don't think about that. So you got to focus on uh, getting in touch or getting in front of people. That's number one above all else. I just threw up two fingers. That makes no sense whatsoever. Go team. Um, but you got that was dumb. But number one above all else is you got to get in front of a ton of people.
Yeah.
And but then the biggest hiccup with a lot of agents is they'll get in front of a lot of people, but they don't do the work after the appointments. They don't do the work before the appointments to stay organized and learn the product. They just don't. And that's where you end up getting people that they have no idea, who's on what. They have no idea if when their premiums are set to draft, all of those things. That's why I say if you just come into this industry and you think you're just going to sell and make money, dude, don't even do it. Go sell cars, because you have to, when after your set schedule for the day of either dialing, running appointments, what have you, if you do not do the paperwork at the end of the day and you don't do the prep at the beginning of the day, it's going to overwhelm you, because as you start to make money, those clients start to pile up and you're not going to be able to manage it. So, and that may scare some people off. It's not intended to. It's saying, listen, every new level in life requires a new version of you.
Yeah.
So step it up.
Big time.
That's how I think.
Big time.
Yep.
Can we talk through your $110,000 month, breaking different things down? How much did you invest into doing that? And like, what was let's start here, right? Going into this, was that your goal? Was your goal hitting six figures that month, or what was your goal in it? It
60.
just happened.
My goal was
just
60,
casually
65.
Doubled it.
Okay. So, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one, what was your investment on it? And like, what was your mindset on that? Because I mean, for the reality is a lot of people don't want to invest $350, right? I just got off an interview with somebody that $350 a week was a steep investment, right? A new agent that may be, I mean, people coming in, it's a real struggle, right? I didn't have a lot of money coming in as well. And so that definitely is like a steep thing. So getting to where you're able to invest a good amount and then get to where you did that. Talk us through your mindset on that, and then the activity required to do 110K in a month.
When I first got in, I was only investing like maybe 3K
a month, right?
Yeah, 3K, and that's just because I also run two other businesses outside of this, and I had residuals coming in off of that. So when you say no op switch, it's real. But people sit there and go, man, don't you want freedom? I'm like, dude, I don't want to end up on the damn street in 15 years when, things get astronomically expensive. So when people say, do you ever slow down? I'm like, do you ever start?
Great question.
But as far as that month goes, my total investment on ad spend and everything added in was about $8,700. And I just went in with a mentality of consistency, book 100 plus appointments a week, because I run everything virtually unless it's a massive case, like at the beginning of June when I had to go to Arkansas and Louisiana for a few really big cases, but they were consulting clients of mine that wanted to write policies to protect their business. So it's a different story,
Yeah.
So I just went in with that mindset, and I was like, okay, if I do this, I know I'm going to be able to write at least 55 to 65. So that's my range. 65 is ideal. If I can do that, and consistently hit those numbers, then that's great. And I'm a follow-up maniac. I mean, that's huge on my end. So when I day of no shows, not only do they get highlighted in my Google sheet, they get put on a Word doc. Okay, with the date. All right. So the next day, and I've got people from the week before that, all of that as well in sheets. And so if I have a no show, I'm dialing. Whether it's if I can get them on the horn and the gap is big enough to be able to actually write a policy, great. If it's not, book them again. Sometimes they'll be like, I don't really want to get sucked into writing a policy on this one, so I'll try to just book 8, 9, 10 off of that. And that was my mentality the entire month. And it just, momentum just started building. Like, again, 8% Nation starts on Wednesday night. So, and it runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I told Cody, I said, I'm still going to be running appointments in between some of the stuff. And so my goal was to, between today, tomorrow, and before it starts on Wednesday, to write 10 to 15, so that I'm like, okay, cool. And thankfully enough today, I've written 8. So it's a good 8K. Start, right? Yeah. So it's just people don't understand. Everybody hears the phrase "strike while the iron's hot," right? Okay, how the hell does the iron get hot?
That's a great
How does it get
question.
hot? No, Johnny, it's really simple. You start striking it to get it hot, and then you keep it going. But so many people are like, yeah, you got to strike while the iron's hot. Well, it's not going to get there if you don't start.
Yeah.
So that was just my mindset through that entire month. And as they kept closing, writing, whatever you want to call it, as I kept writing more and more policies. And at the end of it, when I finally took my foot off the gas at the end of the month, just to add it all up, I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't suck. And that was it. I mean, literally. So my mindset was consistency and follow up, and doing right by your people, making sure that you get the thank you cards out, that you make sure I mail every client a paper copy of my license for their state. Okay. A thank you card, all that stuff, a letter detailing when the premiums are going to draft, everything. Because like I said, the only way they will ever they have no excuse
Yeah.
not to make sure it stays in place unless they just suck at managing their money. But
Yeah.
there's no magic formula.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan is arguably considered the greatest athlete or basketball player of all time. And what was one of the things that you hear everybody say? He's so fundamentally sound. If you don't do the fundamentals, you'll never see the massive growth. It's not going to happen. People try to get fancy, like all the things I see online all the time. Say goodbye to dial days. Say goodbye to your money, because that ain't going to work. Yeah, you may not have one designated dial day, but you're dialing. If you're not dialing, you're dying.
Yeah. So
Period.
what is your how do you get in front of so many like qualified prospects daily? Talk us through like the systems that you're willing to share with us.
I tell them if they don't get a policy, I can't afford my hair treatments. I'm kidding. I don't say that. That's a great line, though. I just thought of that.
That's too good. The free vacation, baby.
Right?
The cruise.
God, I hate that so much.
We're going to the Bahamas.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Free gift card. No. I don't do that stuff. I've been fortunate enough through trial and error to find questions that actually elicit a certain type of response on my forums that we created. And I don't think enough people pay attention to that. But again, most people get into this and think it's sales. It's not sales. It's a business. It's a business. And so that helps qualify. Chat GPT helps a lot as far as follow up. And when I can't get, but you don't start out there, you got to build into that. That takes money.
Yeah.
So, but all those little tools help stay on top of things. And then again, I follow up like crazy. I don't just the system will take care of itself. No, dude, it's like, okay, you don't put gas in the car. At some point, you're breaking down the highway, period. You still have to do the work.
Yeah.
So, if I know I talk a lot, so you're welcome. But one of my favorite lines is from the 1990 Chicago Bulls. If you watch The Last Dance, Phil Jackson said, we had a saying in the locker room: you're only a success at the moment you perform a successful act. You have to do it again. And too many people say, I wrote a $5,000 application. Great. How many days ago was that? 2. What'd you do in the last 2 days? Well, 0.
Wait for it to issue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just sitting there. You went out and spent the money before it actually hit your account?
That's the best, right?
Got it. Yeah, I just don't think that way. I'm a simple guy. I want to build something that matters.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
But so do you have like appointment setters? Do you do one call closes? Like, walk us through that.
All of it. I have 2 appointment setters now. I do one call close. I will, if somebody gets booked into a 15-minute time slot, that's not a one call close. No, it's a information gathering session and a reschedule, So thankfully, this guy tonight before us, we had to reschedule because he didn't have his meds on him, but it works out. You just got to know when you're talking to the person how to be able to not just be a douchey robot, you know. So the appointment setters help a lot because I can't get to everybody. AI helps a lot because I can't get to everybody. But again, you have to build into that. You're not going to start there.
Yeah.
You're
So,
not
or
going to
would you
start there.
recommend having a new agent start to get to 20,000 a month? What would be some of the steps that they need to take?
Say, okay, say you can only afford to get, say you can only afford, $400, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have to start up with aged leads, what have you. Okay. Say that $400 gets you 50, 60, 70 aged leads. You dial every single one of those freaking leads until you exhaust that list. And I don't mean you go through them one time. I mean, you dial them 3 times. So you go through all 50, say it's 50, and you don't get in touch with anybody. Okay, as soon as you're done, start again. So you say you book one, okay, set that to the side, the next 49. So you book 2 more, cool. Now you got 47. You literally just hammer it, hammer it, hammer it, hammer it, because so many times people say, oh, these leads aren't working. I'm like, no, dude, you're not working.
Yeah.
You are not working. And the only way you're going to get to any level of consistency is if you, as bad as it sounds, you try to polish a turd until that turd turns into gold, and then you can actually go make more gold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I have written just as much business off of 90-day-old, 1-year-old leads as anything else. The only reason you get to, oh my God, exclusive branded leads and all that idiocy is you build. That's it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so simple. So many people overcomplicate this. And I know I'm not a sham wow guy. I'm probably the guy that's going to scare the hell out of people. But you know what? At least you'll know exactly what you need to do. You'll know exactly how to do it, and you won't have to worry about guessing it, games.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and just sit there and be like, the average policy is $100 a month, so that's $1,200 a year, and then 70. No, dude, come on, man. I'll break all of it down for you. I have sheets already built, so when I start hiring people, if they go, "What is this?" I'm like, "Page 5." You have every tool in front of you. All you need to do is just freaking work.
That's huge. That's huge. Last question here as we kind of wrap up here.
Yeah. Appreciate your patience today, too. Truly, please know that. I do appreciate it because when you're like, Mud After East goes, I'm like, we ain't doing this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being able to hop on here. I know you're super busy and literally coming from appointments, writing 8,000 today, like that's massive. What would your
Fortunate.
advice be to?
Fortunate.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I say it's fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, what would your like your advice be to an agent like that wants to get there that hasn't gotten there? What would you say to that person that wants to get there just hasn't yet?
Be real, be raw, and be honest with yourself. I had on a conference call about 3 weeks ago. I think when these people are talking about self affirmations and all that stuff all the time, I'm gonna say, when I hear that, I'm like, no, more and more and more people need to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and be like, what are you going to do today? Not like, you got this. Oh my God. And then if they have a rough call, don't go, okay, it's okay. Like, just,
Yeah, it's
affirm.
true.
No, bro, just get back to work. Admit that
Fact.
one sucked and get back to work, period. Stop affirming, start working. And Cody said flat out, he said, I'm the type of guy that I look in the mirror and I'm like, no, you sucked yesterday, but it's great because that's how I drive myself too in that regard. It's not beating yourself up, and too many people think it is, but you got to get real and raw with yourself and say, what am I actually doing? And if you want to get to a certain point, start tracking it. You
Yeah,
can't
that's
manage
good.
what you don't measure.
Yep.
You cannot manage what you do not measure. And so many people say, man, I got this. I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm like, no, there's certain days. I mean, there's been multiple days in a week where I've looked at myself and be like, what the are you doing, dude? And it's not to be a negging out and all that kind of stuff. It's to sit there and say, okay, sit down, be real, look at what you did, look at what you did not do, and where do you need to ramp it up? And too many people say, but I just don't want negative vibes, positive energy only. I'm like, cool, get over there, positive energy, your butt out the door. I ain't got time for that. I'm trying to make money and
Yep.
build something.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
I'm old school in that mentality. So you see the gray in
Oh,
the beard, man.
it's good.
You see the gray in the
really
beard.
good. That's awesome. Well, Jeremy, I appreciate you coming on here, man. I really appreciate our friendship and continuing to grow and things like that. It's cool to have somebody in the business that constantly challenges you, and so that's what you've been for me. Somebody that's like constantly pushed me, and I'm like, dude, I can't let off the gas because I know he's probably wrote like 10 deals by now. I'm like, wrote 2 today, and you're like, oh yeah, just got done 8, and I'm like, dang, making me rethink life. But anyways.
Just you're fine. Just keep going. I only say that to put it in perspective when you know you're going to have like 2.5 to 3 days of not really being able to see anybody or talk to anybody. It's you got to plan ahead. When people are like, but I want to travel, I want vacation. Like, did you earn it?
Yeah. It's a
If
great
not,
question.
stop talking, start working. So,
Yeah.
and I appreciate your understanding tonight. But when you said reschedule, like, no, dude, no, we're rescheduling. We're doing this thing. Come on, man. I know you're looking
Yes,
over at the
sir.
wife might want to kill you, but we're good. Tell her I said it's okay.
Yes, sir. Well, dude, appreciate you, man. How can people reach out to you if they want some help or want to possibly work with you, things like that?
You can reach out to me at www.gingerjesus.com. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry, Lord. I'm kidding. So, no, my business number is 469-469-5581. I'm not kidding. 469-469-5581. They can also reach me at my email is info at growthinsurancegroup.com. Very simple. Info at growthinsurancegroup.com. You can find me on Facebook, Jeremy Hayes. Just look for the shine. The profile picture is me posing with my niece for her birthday. So, yeah, I'm not a hard dude to deal with. You just got to be willing to put in the time. The only people that
Yeah.
ever think I'm hard to deal with are the people that sit there and aren't willing to work. That's it. If you're willing
Yes,
to work and
sir.
not make excuses and be real with yourself, easiest thing in the world.
Yep. Boom. Well, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with a friend if you guys find it valuable. Appreciate you guys. Drop in the comments some fire emojis. Watch the replay if you want to become a top producer and start crushing it at 6 figures, not in a year, but in a month. Appreciate you, Jeremy. Peace out, guys.
John.
And I just wanted that ability to not have to be on a camera. If I wanted to be outside, I could do that. If I want to work on my house, I can do that. If I want to make a sandwich, I can do that. I've had days where I'm in my swim shorts, talking to them, and then in the pool. And then by the time I get the clothes, I just run down and to the office real quick and fill out the app. So more just freedom. Also just getting bored. If you've been doing this for a long time, it's kind of the same old thing. So accepting a new challenge sounded exciting and just wanted to try to figure out how to do it over the phone. It was hard at first because no one really knew was successful at it, but then it just takes someone to prove that it's possible for it to become possible. And then the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's cool to see kind of like, I remember like I've heard a little bit of stuff kind of like on that realm and it's cool to see like the people who are willing to go out and really start like doing it and showing that it's possible. There had to be a 4-minute mile somehow, some way. Right. And I think a lot of people have limiting beliefs. Me personally had limiting beliefs on, could I really get somebody social banking over the phone? They don't see me. They don't feel me. Talk a little bit about just some tips in that regard. Like, were there beliefs that you had to break in your mind that like, could I get somebody to actually give all that over the phone to get so much trust that they're like willing to give all that stuff out over the phone? Or what are some obstacles you had to overcome as you embarked on that telesales like mastery?
Yeah, I think the first 2 weeks I didn't sell anything. And I think the reason being is that my mindset was that I just really wanted to prove that it could be possible. And so I think I was coming across too needy, needing a
Yeah.
sale, really. And so everyone was like, I need to think about it and this and that. The next thing, did have lots of people want to go out their banking information, didn't trust me, what have you. But it comes with repetition, that your confidence levels go up, and it just eventually had to get so frustrated not closing to where I was like, I don't even care if I close, like whatever. And then as soon as I stopped caring is when all the sales started happening, right? When I first started, I was doing a lot of stuff like, sending my ID out and going like, hey, here's my credentials, here's this, here's that. And the way I thought about it is, if I have to do all that, then that's giving it breath, that from their perspective, that most people must second guess me. Otherwise, why would I be doing it? Because if no one ever, if from the perspective, if no one ever gave you crap about giving out credentials or asked who you were or asked like, well, how do I know who you were, then you would never have a procedure for it. So lately, I just don't do that at all. I just call people up. I had a lady just before this podcast that it was a good premium too. It was $233, and she didn't want to give me her beneficiary information. She's like, I don't know who you are. I didn't go over anything about you get my credentials or anything. I just went, okay, that's okay. And I just talked with confidence and went, look, my job's to help you. If you want to give that to me later, but can I ask you a question of why you don't want to give it out? Because I don't get this ever. And so I always like to put them in a position that they're unique. Like no one ever, like, let's just say that, maybe you're brand new, right? Let's just say that, one out of 5 people, give you crap about not knowing you are, identity, or whatever. You still want to act like they're the first person that's ever said this to you in the last year. You always want to make them pretend like, dude, this is really weird. Like, why would anyone be this way? But yeah, she was professional the whole way through. Asked her that. She's like, yeah, I show who you are. I'm like, that's okay. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm professional. My job's to help you. Let's just continue forward. Eventually at some point I will need that information so the policy pays out, but we can get it later if you want. Which made finding the need a little bit more difficult, but it was kind of funny.
Right.
I was doing like jokes about like, okay, so if you die, this, person you're going to tell me later, how would that affect that person you want to give the name to, so
like, that's too funny.
Yeah, just using stuff like that. But again, with telesales, it just comes with practice.
Did you end up getting the sale, by the way?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, dug in deep enough, talk enough about value, I have my script and stuff that, it's out there. It's funny. I'm seeing my script now on like lead places are like using it as like, hey, use the script, but it's like copiers. But once you get good at this, you don't really need a script. You just kind of flow. The basic points to talk about. But yeah, I just dove really deep into, hey, you're 51. Lucky you're even able to qualify. I had to talk to 10 people a day. Unfortunately, 4 of those 10 people procrastinated too long, and now there's nothing available. Your medication list is getting a little long. 5's a little much, for a 51-year-old, but I'm pretty sure he still might be able to get approved here. But just know it's so imperative to try to get as much as you can right now, because tomorrow you could have a heart attack. And maybe that doesn't kill you, but now the next time you're looking into this, I don't want you to be one of those clients that have to tell them, hey, we should have talked before you got the heart attack. Now there's nothing available, right? Yeah. So I think I just talked a lot about that to kind of scare into, which you should scare him into it, to seeing the value. And I think that's why she was like, yeah, let's get it now.
Yeah, you have to. What I've realized recently, especially, is you have to give so much pain. You have to like make them feel so much pain that they feel like they have to change, right? And it's like you sell the solution, you're selling the change that they have, the peace of mind. And I think like digging really, really deep into that, showing the value, it's like that shouldn't be a problem, right? And I think as the more value that you can bring, the more pain that you can extract and show, and have them actually tell you that, I think the less objections you're going to get on the back end, from what I've realized, is like, hey, they're not going to have a problem giving the social and the banking because they realize the value that they need this and they can't live without it. And so I love that. That's really good. So what's your lead investment looking like? What like weekly or monthly, like for you, and then what you feel like a top producer, what that looks like?
I mean, if you want to, the reason I think a lot of people get in this business is they want to make six figures or more. I mean, honestly, today in today's economy, it's kind of crazy. I mean, when I first started 13 years ago, six figures was like, yeah, promised land, let's go. But now 100 grand with inflation and everything else, it's just crazy. It's like you can barely get by. I mean, if you want to live a decent, comfortable life with like a house, go a couple of vacations a year, 100 grand has got to be the minimum. Otherwise, you're scraping by. I mean, I know a good friend of mine, he makes like 54,000. The guy's always broke. I'm like, you want to go out? He's like, I don't have money. Like, so, you have to realize that this is just a simple math equation. And generally speaking, whatever you want to make a year, divided by 5, that's what you should be spending in leads. And maybe when you're brand new, maybe you divide it by 3 because your skill sets aren't that great. So, if you want to be making 10,000 a week, then, you got to be spending 2,000. Yeah. That's going to guarantee you that you got enough at bats. Right. So I think that most people come to business don't spend enough. Now, obviously you can generate your own leads, on Facebook that can increase your ROI. It takes some time to learn how to do that. And obviously the algorithms get correct and all that jazz. But generally speaking, I spend about 1,500 probably on leads. But I think that for most people, if you want to make more, just learn to invest more. And makes your job easier too. It puts you in that same right mindset, which I talked about earlier, that when I first started doing telesales, I think I was too hungry for the sale. And I was caring more about me making money than I was digging into the client's needs and talking about the value of it. And they could just sense it, that my tonality was that way. Right. And in this business, the words you say are not as impactful as the words behind the words, right? Like your meaning, if I go like, hey, Johnny, how are you? Or if I'm like,
good.
That sounds like a friendly person that generally wants to know how you are, right? From like, Johnny, hey, how are you? It's like, that's a guy who doesn't give a crap. You obviously seems a little depressed, right? It's the same words, it's just what's the meaning behind it, right? So, getting yourself in the right headspace. I think for a lot of new agents, they're just nervous because they're just like, man, I spent $500 on some leads. Man, I really need to make this back or I'm going to be screwed. And when you're in that mindset, the client can hear it in your tonality, right? You really got to be in this mindset of like, hey, I don't really care if you buy a policy or not, but you're a dumbass if you don't. That's the mentality, right? Right there. Like, and if you're a dumbass and you don't mentality, that's a person that's okay with calling people out. Like, can you tell me why you don't want to give a beneficiary? That's kind of strange. I don't really have people tell me that. Can you help me understand? That's from that perspective. But if I'm that one, like, hey, I really need money, I'm like, okay. Hey, beneficiaries, no worries. We'll go ahead and, you can get that later if you want. I don't want to offend you, right? So it's how we react to stuff too, being in that proper mindset.
Yeah, that's good. I really like that. So what do you have an appointment setter now, and then like what's that look like?
I hired one of my best friends I've known for a long time. I've tried to hire a bunch of appointment setters before, strangers and things like that. It didn't work out.
What were the main like things that you saw that were challenging in terms of hiring an appointment setter?
They just aren't going to take your leads as serious as you are, and so even though this is a good friend of mine, she's still going to do half as good as I would do setting appointments myself. It's just that luckily I'm so good at selling that I can use her to, tie up some more freedom to do other things or to work more appointments or the case may be. Also, after dialing for 11 straight years and saying the same thing over and over again, I was like, all right, I'll be a talking parrot in the presentation. It's a little bit different, but
Yeah.
setting appointments is literally like the same thing over and over and over again. So I was getting kind of tired of it, but she books a lot of them through text message now. And I, you got to pay appointment setter, find one of your friends that's making $17 an hour. We probably all have them out there, right? Someone you trust, and then offer them $20 an hour, offer them $25 an hour, whatever the case may be, and pay them for a full 40 hours. Even if they, can only work 20 hours dialing, which probably is what you're going to get. So you can't get pissed off at them. Okay. So like you could probably dial like in 10 hours, expect them to take them 20 because they're probably surfing the internet. They're probably on Facebook or whatever the case may be. But you got to think of yourself as an employee too. Were you always constantly working? Like, no. Right. So, they expect, pay for 40, expect a good 25 hours of solid dialing, and then you escape that route.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's so true. What's she do for you? Like, does she do, how many appointments is she setting a week? And then what leads is she kind of working on?
If you don't mind me asking. On 3 different kinds. The mortgage protection mailers, which I still get.
Like new ones?
The new ones, yeah, but I'm thinking about turning those things off just because the price keeps going up and then the quality keeps going down because, mortgage protection, it's all based on the market, right? And if we're thinking about the market right now, anyone that's logical would not be buying a house or refinancing because they were paying attention to the market, knew the market rates have gone, economy. The housing prices are going down right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, why buy a house? So those people that are filling out new mailers right now aren't really the most logical people. And so trying to talk to them about future planning when they're already making bad decisions buying a house right now, sometimes it's harder to register in their head. Okay. So I feel like the quality is not quite there. I mean, I still closed 2 big ones today, so that was good. But yeah, just I've seen the ROI go down a little bit on that. I'm also running some mortgage protection online mailers, online like Facebook ads, and those are working out great. And so we're going to offer a program here soon that people can tie into that if they want to learn how to do that. It will be on.
You said mortgage protection mailers that you're using?
No, mortgage protection online ads.
Oh, online.
Yeah, and so the price point's sweet. It's like $15 versus $75, and then you can book a lot of those through texting, which is pretty cool. So instead of dialing all the time, you can just text book it, which is great.
Yeah.
And then I do a lot of age leads. Throw them in a text system and send them texts multiple times and see what I get back.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So what lead type, especially like somebody wanting to go out, because like what are your, I guess, goals now? Because like obviously you're running and gunning, you still produce now. Like are your priorities more towards the building side now, or what's that kind of look like now?
More just a little bit of everything. Same as you, probably just making sure I'm always right in business because that's your bread and butter. Recruit, where I can. More being very selective now about who I bring on. So I'd rather have a nice small team that's producing than a big team of a bunch of slackers, wasting my time. So I probably only hire like 1 out of 10 people I interview nowadays. Just bring them on slow and find quality over quantity and find people that really have the heart to want to push through to the other side, because this business for me was easy, but I also had my back against the wall. I was like, I'm sick and tired of making the money I'm making. This is the only thing I can see besides going to college to make the money I want to make. And there was no plan B. Right. And I think that a lot of agents come into this business thinking it's going to be easy and realize it's really hard at first. But once you learn it, if you can just get through your first 100 presentations, then the sky's the limit. You just got to, fall on your face that first 100 times, and then you're set for life. I mean, you got a license to print money. I just got back from Cancun. I was down there for 2 weeks. Just one day I decided to run some appointments on the beach and made enough to pay for the vacation. So
there you go.
That's pretty cool. You know, that the
Yeah.
ability to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. What are metrics that that you feel like new agents should be looking at and really hitting on a weekly basis to be able to make that 5 to 10 grand a week?
Well, it depends on which one you're doing, right? So if you're doing face to face, the you should quit metric is 15 appointments or less. So if you're booking, which I recommend, honestly, most of the pros out here did start face to face. It's just a lot more lenient. You know, you're sitting across the table from somebody, you can connect with them more. You got to have that confidence on point, you know, to go right into telesales. Now, is it possible telesales? Yeah, of course. But, you know, you got to, you know, it's going to be a little bit harder at first. Well, actually a lot harder at first, and then that transition will come. Okay. But it just depends. So yeah, setting appointments, at least 15, otherwise quit. If you want to be pro, get 30. Just the more appointments you set, the more at bats you have. You're going to have your no shows, you're going to have your no closes, but it's impossible to lose as long as you're setting yourself, you know, 15 or more appointments. Anything less, I would say, get out of the industry. Like you're not working hard enough. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I say, quit. Like, quit right now. You're not going to make it. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your upline's time. You're wasting your money. Quit. All right.
Yeah.
Minimum for if you're doing telesales and you're dialing your leads, what the metric you can track if you're doing one call closes is how many dials you're doing per day, right? And I would say, you know, minimum to quit, like you should quit if you're doing less than this at 250. I think pro 250 dials a day. And that's not a whole lot. I mean, if you're dividing that by 3, because you're dialing each lead 3 times, you know, you're dialing like, what is that divided by 3? Like 70
less
leads.
Than 100, right? Yeah.
80 leads or something like that. So you know, you're taking those 80 leads and just ringing through them multiple times throughout the day. That's your 250. So not a whole lot. You know, I just think a lot of people come into this and they think they're working, but they're not tracking their dials, and they're literally doing like 100 dials and they're like, I don't get why this isn't working. It's like, because you should quit. You're doing less than 250.
Yeah.
But the pros out there, I mean, they're doing 400, 500 a day, you know, using auto dialers and just ringing the hell out of everybody. Text messaging, you know, works really good too for older leads too.
Yeah.
The key to that though is you just got to send out. It's not just one text; it's like 4 or 5 texts, you know, to get them to respond. So that's kind of key to that. But the metrics that you can control is A, how much are you spending on leads, and then B, if you're doing telesales, how many dials you're making, and then how many appointments you're setting. As long as you're setting those minimum goals, and the rest is going to fall into place. It's just you have to do it on a consistent basis.
Yeah. That's I really like that big time. What are some attributes that, and there's I'm gonna we'll kind of start here, and then we'll go into like word tracks and things like that and presentations. What are characteristics that you see in top producers, the Hall of Fame? Have you ever hit Hall of Fame?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so what are attributes that you see, like especially Hall of Famers, people issuing 4, 5, 600,000 a year, million a year, right? Like, what are attributes that you see and characteristics that you see in them that like new agents can like learn from?
Okay, yeah, good question. I got to say a funny story for you. Last year, we have Hall of Fame. It's 400,000 or a year more you make, right? And last year, I didn't really start getting busy till about July because I was kind of chilling. And I was like, all right, let me get to Hall of Fame. But then I thought it'd be kind of funny because at the conference they rank, like they got like the 3 or the like 300 to 400 and then 400 to 500 or whatever, right? But they rank them like number 1, number 2, number 3. So I actually quit at 398 and I took the rest of the December off so I could, when I got to the conference, I'd be number 1 in that category.
Oh, really? That's hilarious.
So like number 1, Ryan Reynolds. I was like, all right, cool.
So okay. So they do it. The first person is the lowest.
I think they call it like silver or gold or I don't know, something like that. But it was funny. I got to be the number 1 in that category, so I just quit. So I was number 1. So I didn't figure I wasn't going to write enough to be number 1 in the 400 to 500. So I was like, all right, I'll stop here and take a nice break. It's Christmas season, so yeah. But that's the cool part. I mean, you can work when you want, whenever you want. But you know, the guys that are writing 400K plus, It's really not rocket science. They're treating it like a real job. You know, they're working it. They have a schedule, right? They know what they're doing, when they're doing it. They know their study time. They know their dial time. They know their presentation time. They have their set goals in mind, you know, for hitting either appointments or dials per day, and they don't quit until that happens. They're humble. They follow their mentor's advice, and they don't quit. You know, they just don't quit. So that's it. It's really not rocket science. To me, it's really hard for me to understand those people that don't make it in this business. I don't speak that language of being an excuse maker, but there's a lot of them out there. And it's not your upline. It's not the lead. It's not the training you're getting. I mean, me personally, I don't even think you need an upline. You can literally just watch YouTube videos. Everything you need is right there. You know,
YouTube,
whether it be your channel or my channel or, you know, any of the other channels out there, everything you need is at your fingertips. It's just work ethic. People are not spending enough money and they're not dialing enough. That's it. I mean, that's all it is. So they just have bigger goals and they're just working more than you. That's the only difference. Most people say they're working their butt off, but generally speaking, it's 2 hours a day and then 6 hours procrastinating or picking up the phone and using Facebook or social media to distract you from the time. You know? So I don't think there's any major rocket science to it. It's just someone that set out a goal and said, hey, it's plan A and there is no plan B, and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm sticking to my schedule of self-discipline.
Yeah, I remember starting out. I started a year ago, and I remember just thinking about, like, because it is a scary feeling, right? Like, coming in and you're like, new industry, not totally sure. There's a lot of people making a lot of money here, but how can I kind of fit into that? And I remember listening and I heard this quote of, if I never quit, I can never fail. And I remember hearing that because you do so many reps over a long period of time that you just can't fail. You get better, right? Like, as John Wetmore says, do more now, get better later. And you get better over time, right? I think what Ryan said earlier was huge. What you said earlier was huge, because you said, like, do 100 presentations, fall flat on your face. You'll get so many objections that you won't even know what to do with it. And then you'll learn, right? You call your mentor, call your upline, whoever it is, watch YouTube videos, study those, and all of a sudden you get better and better over time. And so I really like that.
I think one of the major qualities too. I mean, anyone that's producing at a high level, the one attribute that you'll notice is that they're humble. Right? They're not bragging. They're not trying to, tell you the exact way to do it. They're always open to new ideas. These are the people that don't have to be told to reach out and ask for help. They just do, right? Yeah. Because they want to know the answer. I think there's a lot of agents that I've trained in my day that expect me to be their babysitter, like a manager. It's like, nah, man, like this is your business. Reach out to me and ask for help. And then when I give you advice, don't go do the opposite. Be humble and follow it. Right. So those are kind of the key attributes I see in the people that are winning is, when they hear something from someone above them where they want to be or go or watching on a YouTube video, they follow it to a T. They don't just make up their own new path because they're not there yet. And they stay humble the whole way through. Right. They're always constantly trying to learn and get better at their craft and be curious and ask questions and follow advice and try new things. So I think those are really huge key attributes that you see from the people that fail and the people that are successful.
Yeah. Did you at first, were you always setting appointments, like Monday dial day, like Tuesday, Wednesday setting appointments, or have you ever one call closed and like, what's that look like?
When I first started the business, always setting appointments. I got really good.
Like telesales.
Oh, telesales wise?
Yeah.
I tried the one call closes. I don't know. I just didn't like it as much for me with my, I have really bad ADD. And so it just kept me very distracted. And so when I could focus on just dialing and then setting appointments, and then the next day, all I had to work on was just running those appointments, to me, it just mentally helped me out better. Versus like I saw myself getting distracted, where if I was like trying to do one call close, one call close, and I go take a break or do this, it was just harder for me. So it seemed to help me out to kind of have that structure of a dial time and then a run time. And I don't know, that just worked out better for me. Now you do get no-shows, but you can eliminate those no-shows by locking it down properly And a lot of people don't do that. They're just like, okay.
Yeah. So how do you do that? How do you lock that that appointment down so that the person shows up? Because what's your no-show rate's like ridiculous. Like, what is it?
It's like 20%.
Yeah, it's like great. So what's that? How do you lock it down, the appointment?
So the key is you only book for the next day. Okay. And it's kind of hard sometimes because the client's like, well, I can't do it tomorrow. And you're like, well, I'll put you on Friday. But let's say today's Tuesday, right? And you do book it for Friday. This is too far out. I mean, you're gonna have, I either book the same day or the next day. And if they can't do it, then I let them know, hey, look at the rest of the week. Everything's completely full. I have no openings. It sucks that we can't do it today or tomorrow. Your schedule's so crazy. But what I'm gonna have to do is give you a call back on Thursday and see if anything opened up in the schedule. And I know it sounds weird to do because people are like, well, I got them on the phone, I better schedule it. I'd rather just not schedule it because I know that person's gonna no-show me. So that's rule number one. And you just got to keep calling them back until you get a hold of them on Thursday. At least they know your number now. You're like, hey, save me as Ryan, so it's me. When I call, I'll see what's available. You're letting them know that, hey, we're very busy. Which makes them want it, right? People want other people are doing. So play those kind of keys. So that's number one, is only book, the same day or the next day. And then when where a lot of people think that booking appointments is easy. It is, but no-shows, getting rid of no-shows is the hard part. And when I was doing face-to-face, I think my no-show rate was like 10%. It was like barely anything.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So very good at that, locking that stuff down. So number one is going to be coming off as a professional, right? When you're doing your intro. And then when you're locking it down, it's like, all right, grab a pen for a security code. Let me know when you're ready for that. And you give them the security code, 7W52. Make up whatever you want, but that's mine. That was the one that came up with that a long time ago, 10 years ago. But yeah, 7W52. Because I was having this rebuttal happen when I was brand new there. I was like, grab a pen. Like, oh, I'll remember it. I'm like, damn it, what do I do? So I was like, all right, grab a pen for security code. So now they have to write it down. 7W52. Yeah. My name's Ryan. That's going to be tomorrow, which is Wednesday, July 19th. I'm going to try to give you a call right at 7 o'clock, but give me till 7:30. I might be on the previous call, might go later than expected. So expect a call between 7 and 7:30. My national producer number is 123-696-969, just like the rapper. And go ahead and read that back to me. All right. So that's the key. So make sure they're writing it down. Number one, reading it back, every single detail. They go, yeah, I got it. 7W52. All right. What's the time? 7. What's the arrival time? I might be called between what time? 7:30. What's my producer number? What's my name? What's the day? What's the date? And this isn't to be retarded with them. It's to help them remember it. They wrote it down. They're visually looking at it. Now they're saying each thing. It's becoming now a more important memory that stands out in their mind. If they're getting annoyed that you're having to repeat everything, good. That's more of a memory that's going to stick in their mind. Okay. So read it back, number one. Then the security code, you make a big deal about it. And then you never have to bring it up during the appointment at all. But you're just like, how do you make a big deal out of it? Like, hey, save this in like your safe. Well, here's how you don't make it a big deal. That security code. So, hey, just make sure you keep that in a safe spot. All right. Because we do need that. All right. Can you do that for me, Johnny?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So that's not a big deal. I'm not sounding like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
You got to like nice, firm, chest out. It's a big deal. Now, Johnny, hey, that security code, we do need that for the appointment. So can you keep that somewhere safe, Johnny?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm doing a double repeat. You got to repeat stuff. All right. Because that security code, if we don't have it, they won't let me continue because it is for security. So make sure you have that ready somewhere when we do the appointment and don't lose it. All right.
All right.
All right. So they're saying it serious and I'm saying it twice. That's the key. And what's that do? Does 3 psychological plays. One, it says, hey, you don't trust me, I don't trust you, right? So they're like, well, I don't know if I can trust this guy. It's like, well, they obviously have security. So like they're, that's something, right? Yeah. Number 2, it's going, I'm not needy because if you don't have your security code, I'm not going to even talk to you. So now this person's not trying to sell me, right? And 3, it's making sure that piece of paper is now really important to them. So they remember like, oh man, I better not lose this because I guess I need it. So it's doing psychological plays. Last part is, Johnny, how do you remember your appointments?
I remember them I have a Google Calendar.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, I use Google Calendar as well. Can you put that in your Google Calendar for me now?
Yeah.
All right. Let me know when you're done.
All right. I'll do it after this call.
Just do it for me now. And let me know when you're done.
So have them do it right on that call.
Exactly. Yeah. Do it for me now. Let me know when you're done.
Boom. Okay. All right, great. Cool.
So let's say they put on a sticky note. Okay. Do it for me now. Where do you put the sticky note at? On your fridge. All right. Go put it on the fridge. Let me know when you're done.
It's that simple.
That's it. All right. Great. Well, have a great day. And we look forward to helping you out tomorrow. Getting a call between 7 and 7:30. All right.
All right.
That's it. So, just locking it down. 80% of the call is locking it down. It's not having to pick a time. That's easy. Yeah. I could call someone up and go, "Hey, buddy. Hey, Johnny. Hey, I got to get you this hot dog coupon. Does tomorrow work at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock for the hot dog coupon? Which one do you prefer?" 5 o'clock. All right, perfect. I'll have the hot dog coupon over tomorrow at 5. Right? So people are going to pick times all day long, right? But you got to lock them down.
Yeah. So do you, so when you're going in to set that appointment, do you say do you give them 2 options? Like which one would be better for you? Are you like a morning or afternoon person or?
Yeah, so I don't do mornings. So I just, I use my mornings for other stuff. So I just do you prefer afternoon or evening? And they go evening. All right. Well, look at my evening appointments. I look at what I have, right? So I'm like, all right. So I have a for evening, I got a 6. So maybe it's already scheduled 6, right? So I'm like, okay, 6 is booked. Do you want to do a 5:30 or do you want to do a 6:30? And I'm going to start building it around the appointments I already have built. So I can keep them all string together. And I do 30-minute appointments. Sometimes my appointments last, an hour. Sometimes I'm 2 hours behind schedule. But, as long as I'm closing, right? So I can always reschedule. I can always call and apologize and say, hey, this family got 4 policies. It took forever. I'm so sorry. I never know when someone's going to do that. It's kind of a rare case. But when can I get you back on the schedule? And I would say, 80% of the people you call that you're running late to, you're like, hey, I'm so sorry. We've been helping so many families out today. We've just been swamped and everyone's getting a policy and everything's going long expected. Everyone's having a bunch of questions and my job is to help them. So everything's just taking a lot longer. I apologize. And they're just like, oh, no worries. And that sounds great. What do you mean? You're a person that's helping people. You're so busy. Everyone's buying policies. Like, what are they going to say to that?
Yeah. Big time. What so when somebody is really pushing back, right? We'll go to a little bit. We talked a little bit about it, but somebody like that, they don't want to give you information over the phone. They're like, how can I trust you're not a scam? Like, how can I trust that? What would you say?
I would say, I can send you my license, if you want to look that up in the Department of Insurance. I don't really get that, but if someone did say that, I'd be like, number one, this is kind of the weirdest scam ever. And, it's kind of an insult to my intelligence level. Cause if I was going to do a scam, I would do something a lot better than this. Cause it basically means I would have to, hack the government website to put my license in there, which is kind of weird. All right. I'd have to learn all about insurance, just to get, your bank account information that you've been handing out to strangers for the last 60 years on a check that the banks know are the most secure methods of payment. Still to this day, you can hand a stranger a check as your account, but they can't go to Disneyland on it. So if the banks think it's secure, why would I do a scam like this? It makes no sense to me. So can you help me understand where that's coming from? I guess I don't get it. It's probably what I'd say. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So when they're really objecting to giving their social out, what do you say?
Well,
role play. Yeah.
You want some money on it. And by the way, check this out. So I'm a vapor, right? This is the weirdest vape ever. I was just down in Cancun and it looks like a drink.
It does look like a drink.
Very slushy. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a vapor. I pay the smoker rate, but I quit for a little bit and I'm back. I'm back. But no, the key to that is getting rid of it up front, right? So take some freaking notes because I'm about to give you some gold here. But I go, hey, these are not policies you can buy. You do have to be approved for them. Okay.
This is at the beginning of your presentation, right?
This is after I've kind of found the need. So first I explain what I do. Then I go into need, try to find that need. Then I get rid of my think about it, which is what I'm doing right now, right? So this is how you get rid of think about it, which is another major reason. I mean, 80% of the time I would say it's not because they don't trust you. It's just because you didn't find the need good enough, or you come off like an amateur and they're just using that as excuse, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just eliminate it right now, right? So they can't even say anything. So Johnny, again, these aren't policies you can't just purchase. Okay, you do have to qualify for them. So what I'm going to do is fill the application for you today, and then in about 3 to 7 days, they're going to let us know if you can purchase it. If you can buy it, great, good news. They're going to give you another 30 days to make any changes to it. So if you're not, I'm going to give you a couple plans. If you're like, oh man, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know which one to pick, just pick one. Let's see if we can get you approved first, because we have a whole 30 days to make changes to it. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Johnny, if you don't want a policy, the only reason that would be is because of budget. And I can adjust this thing to make sure that it does fit your budget. So just speak up. No matter what price it is, we need to protect your family. We need to protect your house. We need to protect the final expenses so that doesn't go on them. And the last memory of you is you left them a bill, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't need to do a second appointment because we don't know if you can even buy it yet. Okay. So there's no need for us to do underwriting 3 times. We're going to do all right now. Pick a plan. We don't need to do a second appointment. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there is 3 things that are required for the application. Now, I do not need them right now, but I just want to make sure you have them on you before we proceed. Okay. So we're not wasting each other's time. The first one's going to be a driver's license. They need that to check your criminal background. Mostly they're looking for DUIs and driving record. Do you have a driver's license on you that you can pull up?
Yes.
Okay. Second thing's going to be a social. Okay. That's what they put on your death certificate. And so the policy pays out tax-free to your family. Do you know your social?
Yeah, I don't really feel comfortable like giving that out though.
Then your policy won't pay out to your family. So that is one of the requirements. It goes on your policy so that the policy pays out. That's how they know if you're alive or dead, right? That's your Social Security. Okay. So it's kind of needed for life insurance. All right. So
yeah.
Any issues with that?
No.
Okay. Any questions on it?
No.
Okay. So we want the policy to pay out. We need a social, obviously. The third thing is going to be a method of payment, and they only take secure methods. Okay. So that means they don't take debit cards. Why is that? Because people can go online and buy stuff with a debit card number. All right. What they do take that's secure is a routing account number. And the reason why it's secure is still to this day in 2023, you can hand a check to a complete stranger. Has your name, your address on it, your routing account number, and they can't take that check and those numbers and go purchase a bunch of stuff with it. Okay. So they only take routing account numbers. Can you pull up a routing account number for me today when we need it?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions on any of those 3 things?
Well, time out real quick. So if they're on Social Security and doing Direct Express, what do you say to them? You just
That's
go
what
with
they're
a
going to
different
say. I
carrier,
don't have
or
a routing account number. And I go, okay, what do you have? I have a Direct Express. I'm like, okay. They do take Direct Express because those are secure methods of payment since the government does monitor those. Okay.
Yeah. And what carrier are you usually going with on that? Prosperity or?
Yeah, Prosperity, Transamerica, one of the 2. I mean, I more or less, I focus on life insurance and mortgage protection versus final expense. I don't run into it too often, but if I did, yeah, I'd go with one of those.
Cool. All right, sweet. So we get there, and then so you started off the call. You get to you explain the process, find the need, get the driver's license, overcome the think about it at that point, right? So what? What's the next thing in the presentation?
Then you just go into asking the medical questions and go over some plans, right? And just the key here is, a lot of people just present it kind of like crappy. Like I present it with like a ton of value. And then the key
Oh
is like,
yeah.
the key is presenting it a lot of value and then also repeating it multiple times.
Yeah.
So you don't just go over it once, you're like repeating it multiple times. So for example, let's say I was doing a life insurance one because that has a lot more value than like a final expense. But I guess, final expense, you can do it too. You're like, okay, so this policy is 20,000. What this is going to do, we'll do a final expenses. You do final.
Do you have them? Yeah. Do you have them write it down? Like, do you have them?
Yeah.
A pen and paper?
Grab a pen and paper. That's in the very beginning. So I'm like, hey, I'm Ryan. I'm gonna be the one helping you out today. Can you grab a pen and paper?
And do you give them your state producer number or no? Because you don't want to even like implant that.
Not when I'm doing the presentation. If I was doing a one call close, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if it was one call closing, yeah. But mine are already pre-set up, right? So
yeah,
we got 20,000. Now, what this 20,000 is going to do is it's going to pay for your funeral, which is 10 grand right now. It's also going to make up for inflation. So if you died today at 65, 10 grand's enough. But we know a funeral when you're 85 is going to cost you 20,000. So we're making up for some inflation. And we're locking in our rate at 65 versus waiting till 85, where we're either not qualified to get coverage at all, or now it's 5 times more expensive. Now, if we die early on, this 20,000 is also going to leave 2 grand to each of your grandkids that we talked about, which I know you love deeply. And that's a really cool way of saying, hey, grandma's gone, but I hope this 2 grand can buy you some video games. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Or maybe I'm like, hey, this is going to cover the flights for your daughter that we talked about, which that's going to be devastating to lose you. And you're leaving here the gift to go, hey, I picked up that expensive $600 flight out to the service, okay? Or maybe it covers a multiple people, right? So I'm talking about the value we talked about earlier. So that's what this 20 grand plan is going to do. This 20 grand plan also is guaranteed to last forever. So that means the money you put into the policy is going to go to your family, not the insurance company. So a guaranteed payout, okay? Whether it happens today or 5 years down the road or 20 years down the road, we know that this policy is going to be left to our family. And that's the key of why we want to get this in place, correct?
Yeah.
All right. This also avoids probate, which means the government can't touch it. Okay. It's not going to go through a court system like other stuff. This money is going to your family, 100% of it. And it pays out tax-free. They don't have to pay any taxes on this thing. Okay. Now, also builds cash value. So, a portion of your premium is going to go into a savings account. And the longer you have it, the bigger portion goes in there. And that's in case you win the lottery. You're going to call me up. You're going to give me that 100 grand since it helped you out with this policy. and then you can cancel this, right? You get some money back. Okay. So pretty cool that even if I don't use this policy, you get money back. Now, let me ask you a question, Johnny. Do you get money back if you cancel your car insurance?
No.
What about your health insurance?
No.
And is your health insurance or car insurance guaranteed to pay out?
No.
No, right? So we have a guaranteed payout and an option to get some money back if we, for some reason down the road, don't need this policy. Now, the coverage is locked in level for the rest of your life. That means they can never drop it regardless of your health or age. And your premium's locked in forever as well, which is pretty cool. So you're going to get all that stuff built into it, plus living benefits. If you get a terminal illness, like say the doctor goes, you have 12 months left to live. Well, hey, this lets you use your 20 grand while you're living to start planning out your estate and your affairs, which is pretty cool to access. So you're going to get all of that for $202, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then I would repeat it. Now I have it written down. I'm like, again, so we have 20,000, lasts forever. Now I'm giving a quicker one, blah, 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 all for 202. Okay. So how you feeling about that one, Johnny?
Yeah, it's expensive. Too expensive.
Too expensive? Okay. So, and you said you want to be buried earlier. So what we're going to do here is we're going to drop it 15,000. Okay. This is going to be a policy that at least covers the burial now and gives each of the grandkids at least $1,000. Now, if you do live to 85, it's not going to be enough to cover your full funeral. Okay. But if we can't afford the 202, it is what it is. Getting something's better than nothing. So that one's going to come to 150. So it has all the same benefits. How are we feeling about that one?
I like it more. It's still a little expensive, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can do
Is
the
there
10,
a lower option?
We can if you want. I mean, my recommendation to every client is, get as much as you possibly can afford right now, because it's only going to get more expensive as we get older. But again, we got to make sure it's affordable. Otherwise, we don't want to let it go and then have to reapply for one 5 years down the road, and now it's twice as expensive, right?
Yeah.
Well, we can't do the bare minimum of 10,000. That's going to drop it to 105 a month. But again, keep in mind, at that price point, if we lived to 85, that's not going to be enough for a burial. That's only enough for like a cremation. Okay. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think I don't know. This is a big decision.
Well, you got 30 days to make your decision, and most people can figure it out within that time frame. So what do you think is a good starting point for now?
Can I add later?
In the next 30 days, you can always add coverage, okay? But after that, you can't add. Now, through the life of the policy, if you start with 20,000, you can always drop it. And the insurance company's like, oh, you want less? We're less risk for us? Cool, we'll lower it. Yeah, so you can always lower it whenever you want. We just can't go up after the 30 days.
Okay, then I'll go with the 15,000.
Okay, so we'll start there, right in the middle, and then if we want to adjust anything, if we get approved, like I said, I can't promise you, but if we get approved, we'll find out 3-7 days, and then if we want to make adjustments, we can go from there. But I'll just know I'm going to be your guy from here on out for the life of the policy. Anything you need, give me a quick call, okay?
Okay,
that's it.
Boom. And how do you warm down the appointment? After you close it, they get approved. Oh, real quick before then, are you going no post dates, or are you post dating some business, or how's that conversation work?
It depends. I mean, if their income's, if they're telling me their income's pretty low, then I'm going to post date for sure. Find out when their Social Security payment is, or whatever the case may be is. If they're making decent income, then I don't post date. I just go, hey, the key line there is just, hey, this is these policies. I'm not sure if you're okay with it, but they usually take about 7 days to get approved. Is that okay with you? And then
yeah.
And then I just say when it gets approved. So they get approved earlier, I'm like, congrats, you got approved, and the premium comes out.
Okay, so if they get approved on the spot, then you just
I don't tell them ever.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's just initial. Okay, so you don't tell them that it's going to be coming out?
No, because people want what they can't have. So I want them to be off the phone hoping they can get it. So
if they got approved,
I tell them, hey, still 3 to 7 days. And then we always follow up. So my assistant, I tell them, hey, all right, we got everything submitted for you. Please make sure you save my number in your phone. I sent you my contact. Just know I'm going to call you once a year for an annual review as well, just to make sure we're in the best position possible. My job is you and your family, okay? Now, my assistant, she's going to be calling you. She checks on these every day. Once she checks on it, she'll give you a call, let you know if you got approved. She'll leave a voicemail, send you a text. And then if you don't get approved, she's going to get you back on the schedule with me, and we're going to figure out why it didn't get approved and what the next best route is, okay? But at the end of the day, my job is to make sure you have something in place, and I'm not going to quit on you until that happens, okay?
Yeah. So, okay, so you just set it for like right away, and then each month after that, like how do you do that? You just set it for the same day?
Well, generally speaking, I mean, they're going to take 3 to 4 days before it comes out of their bank account, right? And then whatever that day is, I mean, it's just set for that day always, right?
Okay. Gotcha. So you don't even ask that. You just go through with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going, hey, this will take about 7 days before it gets approved, before you have coverage in place, before you get to pay for it. So, that's okay. Like, hey, this takes about 7 days before it will issue and be in place. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
I mean, right
Okay.
there, you're saying like, obviously, if it gets approved, they have to pay for it. So,
Yeah.
we're checking on it every day. So we're calling them before, like, hey, it got approved. There was one time where we missed it by a day, and the guy came out of checking account, and he's like, "Hey, you didn't call me." And so I had to yell at my admin about it. I was like, "Hey, what's up? This guy's pissed." And I was like, "Hey, sorry, I guess it missed it. She didn't check it yesterday, and it came out yesterday, or got approved yesterday. We should have called you." But
So do you if it does get approved, like do you have a lot of pushback when that payment's coming out? Like if it does, like right when it does?
Nope. I mean, again, guys, if you're having pushback and when the payment comes out, you didn't properly find the need. You didn't build enough value. You should be leaving these people off when they get off the phone with like, I hope I got approved. I hope I'm getting approved. I hope you're approved. I hope a lot of my clients, I'll give them, the higher option, the middle option. They'll pick the higher one just because they're like, yeah, I want, I've talked so much about, because this has happened. You've done it too, man. How many times have you had to talk to people where they just had a heart attack, 2 months ago, and you're like, damn it, if I just would have talked to you 3 months earlier, you could have got a good rate. So I'm going to talk to my clients about that and go, look, this just happened to a client. And if I just would have talked to him 3 months earlier, we could have got him a good plan. Now he can't get anything at all. So, I don't want that to happen to you. That's why I want you to get as much as you can afford, but make sure it's affordable, because you don't want to be 65. And now, you're 51 now, at 65, it's going to cost you 3 times as much. Or, you're one of those situations that I have to tell people every day, and it breaks my heart, that you procrastinate too long and there's nothing available for you. So, pick wisely. But, like I said, if it's too expensive, we can always lower the coverage. But get as much as you can afford now while it's on sale.
Yeah. So how do you a couple more questions here and we'll wrap up. So like what are you what's your persistency? Like what's your that look like? Especially going telesales.
I mean, on a good month, 10%, on a bad month, 20%. So I would say average probably like 15%.
Yeah. And are there things that you have in place to be able to keep those clients on the books?
No, I haven't noticed anything that helps, honestly. I talk about, that's another thing. I do talk about the end before I end it. I put a wall up around my policies. So I go, hey, just so you know, you probably filled out multiple online requests, and just there's going to be other people calling you, and then they sell the data later to like down the road to another person. Just know I'm your guy. So if anyone calls you, just say I'm with Ryan, because they don't have your best interests at heart. They're just trying to make a sale. And so they might make something sound better, but I've ran all the numbers through 65 companies. This is the lowest cost. So I just don't want you to get in a policy to where, it sounds good, but maybe the rate goes up every 5 years. And I've had a couple of clients that ran into that. So just know you have a number saved. Anyone calls you, tell you're good. Give me a call, and I'll make sure if there ever is something's lower out there, I'll tell you to go with it. But I can tell you, I've been doing this for 13 years. No one's ever been able to beat what I give my clients, because I make sure I give them the lowest cost from the start. And that's my job. So just something like that, that's going to prevent those cancellations. I mean, 50% of them are people coming in behind you. And then the other 50% are just that you didn't build the need enough, or maybe you push it through as like, well, let's just see if we get approved and think about it later. I don't ever do that. Like, I'm making sure they make a choice then. If I had a client today that couldn't make a choice, he's like, oh, I need to talk to my wife about it. I need to do this, do that. And I said, well, what do you need to talk to your wife about? Well, we just don't make decisions. And I go, John, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been doing this for a very long time. The people that don't make decisions right away, which it should be an obvious choice, don't get a policy later. They procrastinate. They don't see the value in it. They don't think they're going to die. Whatever the case may be, it shouldn't be something that's a difficult decision, because we don't even know if you can purchase it yet. So, what's causing that? He's like, oh, I just don't make decisions. I'm like, all right, perfect. Well, what I'm going to do is just close the case out. I don't think you're going to make a decision later. And no matter what you tell me, I got statistics on my side. So, you have a great day. And I hope one day you decide to get something in place, but I'm not going to fill it out, because the way I present, it should be a no-brainer, and if they can't make that decision, then it's some sort of bullshit that they're just not telling me, and they're wasting my time. I know that follow-up call. I've done them a million times, and 90% of them never answer the phone again, or they tell me, no, thank you, we decide not to get it. And why waste my fucking time? For not to excuse my French. I'll say not to excuse my French because I hate it.
Because they're not going to.
It's rude.
Yeah. So do you pitch one-legged?
I generally try not to. That guy kind of irritated me because I went up and down.
He's the decision maker, right?
Yeah. I went up and down and said, hey, we're required to have the wife here. Otherwise, we can't do the appointment. So is there any reason why she's not here? Oh, I make the decisions. I'm like, okay, so you're saying by the time we get done, you can pick out the policy, right? And he's like, yeah. And then we got done. He's like, I need to talk to my wife about it. I was like, John, you just said you're the decision maker. Now you're telling me to talk to your wife. Why did you say that earlier and then change your story? Oh, well, we just discussed everything together. Well, that's not what you told me earlier, and then I dived into the need again and tried my best and still wouldn't do it. I close those ones out. And it's the same mentality I had, in my face-to-face. Like, I don't come back. Like, to me, why would you ever come back? Like, that makes no sense. So you're telling me because you need to think about even submitting an application that you didn't know you can even buy it yet. You want me to waste my time twice and do the exact same job over again? You want another underwriter to go all over again? You can't. If someone doesn't trust you and they just made up in their mind that they don't trust you, you can't beat it. Especially you do everything proper. You did your professionalism. They're like, I just don't trust this guy. I'm not going to do it. You can't beat it. It's like, why waste your time? Or they don't see the value in it. You can't do it. Like, you can keep lowering it. Like, hey, like I did with you. How's the 105? All right. How's $5,000 sound? That's $50. All right. Shoot. The lowest I can do is $2,000. It's literally $15 a month. I mean, I'll keep lowering it. I mean, I've sold $10 policies before. Like, I'm gonna close it no matter what. Like, I'm gonna keep lowering like $10. If they still say no at 10, like, all right, it's probably something else. Like, I'm not gonna get on the phone with this guy a second time. Like, he's made up his mind right there. Like, it's not hard. So, and it happens to me all the time. Okay, so. I close 80%, 20% of them are those people, that just can't make up their mind. And I'm not going to waste my time scheduling another appointment because I know I did it. I know I did an excellent presentation. That's their fault, not mine.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's huge. All right, cool. So I appreciate you taking your time to be able to come on here and be able to drop some bombs and nuggets and tons of value, guys. Watch the replay of this because this was huge. I mean, there's a ton of word tracks in there that you guys can learn and implement. Where can they follow you and watch your great YouTube content as well?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds Rush. Again, everything's free out there for you guys to use, be successful. The reason me and Johnny do this is we just want to see more agents, find the success that we've had. And so, take it from us. I mean, we're giving out that for free so you can be successful. It's just about you implementing the knowledge, rewatching it, studying it with some notes, and then going out there and putting the action to work, right? Trial and error is a good thing. Failure is a good thing. It's your first attempt in learning. You're supposed to fail. Still to this day, after 13 years of doing this, I still fail all the time. But I take those failures with grace and humbleness and go, okay, what I learned from this and how can I be different and be better next time, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Share this with a friend, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace. And I picked this up, I used it, and honestly, it's been helping me crush it like crazy about social, right? So building the yes momentum. Hey, are you a U.S. citizen? Were you born in the U.S.? Yes, yes, yes.
Whoa, okay, man, you're dropping too much on them, brother.
So yeah, break that down. How do you get the social like it's clockwork and make them feel comfortable giving out such value, such private information as a lot of people would feel like?
Yeah, so like a recurring theme that we're probably going to come across is like there's nothing special that I say, right? Like
Yeah.
it's really building the foundation, like building rapport and just showing the client that you're there, man. You're listening, right? Like you guys are
Yeah.
really listening to their needs. And then once you're able to do that, I mean, you could ask for, pretty much everything except for the keys to the Mercedes. You know what I mean? So if you do your job right from the very beginning and your intentions are pure and not just on focusing on an outcome, but you're focused on truly helping your clients, I mean, they're going to help you help them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I will say,
bro.
because you did touch on it, there is a way that I ask for the social, and it's very similar to like how most government documents look. So I ask them if they're a U.S. citizen first, and that's what Johnny was saying. And then I ask them what state they were born in, and then I go straight into the social. I don't really, I don't let my nerves get the best of me, and the way you do that is through repetition. Would you agree?
Yeah. Boom.
Just
Dude, so let's role play real quick. So you're going in for the social for me. What walk me through it.
yeah. So they make me ask you, Johnny. I already know the answer to it, but are you a United States citizen?
Yes.
Perfect. I already checked. Yes, I already knew you were. And what state were you born in?
New Mexico.
New Mexico. Perfect. And what's your social?
122222.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I don't get a lot of objections right there, guys. If I do get an objection, I use a little NLP on them, and I just, tell them, hey, I don't need your social. They need it for one of two reasons. The first reason, Johnny, is because the carrier is going to need to identify your body in order to pay your son that check for $10,000. So notice how I paint a picture. I don't use words like beneficiary. I don't use words like death benefit. I get very clear on exactly what we're doing. And the second reason they need your social, Johnny, is because, man, we don't do medical exams anymore. That's a thing of the past. You don't want to get poked up with needles. All they're going to do is run an MIB check on you. And that way it's real simple for you. Go ahead when you're ready. And that's kind of my go-to rebuttal for that.
Yeah, that's huge. Do you have in the beginning of the call, do you have them write down your your state producer number or no?
Hey, that's a great question, dude. I actually just give them my cell phone, and I give them my cell phone number, my first and last name. I keep all the ammunition, right? So in the court of telesales, anything you say can and will be held against you, right? That's kind of something that I use. So I want to keep my evidence, baby. I'm going to keep my evidence till the end because you can use that later on when maybe they do give you an objection on banking, right? Hey, Johnny, I definitely, I understand your concern. You don't really like to do this over the phone. I'll tell you what, you still got that pen and paper handy?
Yeah.
Go ahead and write this number down. This is my license number. It's actually called an NPN, fancy word for license number. It's 19658100 or whatever your NPN is. Give them your NPN. And then that way they can look you up in the state database. I'll even guide them to a computer. You in front of a computer? Right? Boom. And then I'll have them look me up. I am who I say I am. I'll even go as far as just sending them a message on my cell phone. Like I take a picture of my business card and I'll shoot that to them in a text message. You know what I mean? And that way they'll have everything. But you want to at least, like, that's a last resort. Like if you do your job right and you build that rapport at the very beginning of the call during the needs analysis portion of your call, you won't have that many objections. But when you do, you're going to have tools like that you save for later on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's huge. So let's talk about your script, right? So like let's role play from the beginning of the call down to like obviously the closing, right?
Yeah.
So call me and let's just kind of role play it.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny, this is Anthony. Just getting back to you with the final expense plans. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. Thank you so much for asking. And then I'll just go into the introduction portion. I want to split this up because the script, it could take an hour if you're doing it right?
Yeah.
So all I do, and some of you guys might think this is kind of funny, but dude, I keep it simple every time. Like every single time I make a phone call, this is super important, guys. It's the same exact introduction every time. Whether it's a Facebook lead, whether it's a telemarketing callback, whether it's a web lead. My name is Anthony. I'm just getting back to you with the final expense plans. How's it going? They say good, great. And then I go into the state that they're in, right? So it looks like you're a resident in the state of Texas. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I'm a licensed agent in the state of Texas, and I'd be happy to go over some options with you. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Let me go grab it. All right. Perfect. I got it.
Awesome. Now, again, I'm going to have you write this down, so I want to make sure you have it, but this will go right to my cell. It's 512, whatever, right? Give them my first and last name, like I was saying, and then I hold on to the rest of that information. So from here, I'm going into who I am and what I do, right? So I'm going to
Okay.
tell them the kind of carriers that we're working with. I'm going to tell them the benefits of whole life because that's what we lead with.
Let's role play, right? So like, let's just go through it. Like, if you're cool with it, just like, hey, how you would walk me through to go into a close? Because we're both doing one call closes, all final expense, telesales. So okay, so I have the pen and paper, just wrote everything down. Now, what do you say?
Perfect. So now I'm going to explain to them who I am and what I do. I'm a licensed agent in the state of Texas, and we work with America's top-rated carriers like American Amicable, Mutual of Omaha, AIG. You've heard some of them, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, perfect. And I have the script right here, by the way.
Yeah.
So if you guys see me looking down, I'm going to do it verbatim.
That's and I want to pause right there because that's what I do, right? I have my script always up front because what's cool is it's nice to have it on autopilot in your head if you don't have it, right? Like, obviously, like, we have it memorized, but when you guys are like in telesales, it's easier. Like, when you just follow the script and you have the script already and you know how to say everything, having it up right there helps you really, like, one, be more present with the client, but then also it allows you to literally go through the same system every time with the client. And I like that you said that because, like, I think a lot of times we think, okay, we can get away from the script. We can memorize the script and all of a sudden we don't need it anymore. But the reality is, like, a lot of people that I know, top producers, have the script up right in front of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, like, I think that way, and I don't know if it's my ego or what, but when I go away from the script and I don't look at it, I stop making sales, bro.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm missing like one or two like key things that I'll ask
Yeah.
them or something. And it's like when you go back to the script, you're wondering, like, why does it work when I just read it? It's like, bro, because it's worked from the beginning. I mean, that's why it exists, right?
Yeah.
So when you go away from something that works, what do you expect is going to happen? It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So then I'll go into exactly who this coverage is for, right? So the coverage that we'll be going over today, it's designed for people between the ages of 50 and 89 who are just looking to take care of any final expenses, right? Now, most of our customers are receiving Social Security, disability, or on a fixed income. And then I'm going to go into an opening question right here in the beginning. I'll be real with you. I don't do this a lot of the time. Sometimes I will do it if I'm having a very challenging day, but I'll ask them, so Johnny, what kind of life insurance do you have in place right now to protect your family?
I don't have any. That's why I was kind of looking for some.
Oh, that totally makes sense. So can you kind of walk me through, I guess, what would happen if something were to happen to you? Who would be responsible for paying for that? I mean, what would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, my kids, they would have to be paying for the final expense if something happened.
Okay, so your kids, how many kids do you have?
I have two.
You have two kids. Awesome.
Yeah,
I have
two sons.
There you go. I got 5. So.
Jeez.
So I'll kind of build rapport, right? Boom. And then I'm going into the kids. I'm going to paint an even bigger picture. So your two sons, I mean, obviously you're looking to protect them, but, you know, God forbid, Johnny, if something happened to you, I mean, do they have the means to pay for that? Do they, you know, they have well-paying jobs or like a house they can mortgage or?
Yeah, I think it would definitely be tight, but I mean, they could pay for it, I guess, if it came down to it. And I know they always have my back, but yeah, I just don't want them to.
So I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what kind of coverage we'll go over today, and then we'll see if I'll even be able to help you out. You know, I'm sure you understand we can't always help everybody out, but
yeah.
These plans that we're going to go over today, they're called whole life insurance policies. Okay, that just means they last your entire life. They never expire. The premiums never go up or down. And I'll tell you what, man, they go out to age 120. If you live past that, Johnny, I'll pay for your funeral. Just promise you'll tell me your secrets. and I see how I get them like smiling and going with me.
Yeah.
And then I go into the benefits and the features of the plans, right? So these build cash value, Johnny. You know, and then I'll ask them, does everything make sense so far?
Yeah.
Perfect. And I just want to make sure you understand, Johnny, you can interrupt me at any time with any questions that you have. Just feel free to interrupt, okay?
Okay.
Now, is this policy just for you, or did you need a quote for someone else in the house as well?
It's just for me, but how much is this going to cost?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what we do, Johnny, is we actually get contracted with about 13 of the different A-rated carriers, And the way life insurance works is it's based on the rates are based on your health and your lifestyle. So just to make sure I get you the best rate, because if you're anything like me, you don't want to spend $1 more than you have to. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we're going to get into some rates here. So I have your date of birth is 8/4/65.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then you want to leave this to both of your sons, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. And if we find a plan that matches your needs and your budget, Johnny, when were you looking to get this started?
I got my social security check on the 3rd.
Okay, perfect. And then I'll just go through the list of medications. I'm going to ask them to pull out their medications. If I could share my screen, I would, but I would go into FEX toolkits, not to plug anything, but I mean, there's two very popular ones out there, right? BPP and FEX toolkits. So
you can share your screen. You just click present.
All right, let me see. Let me just delete these other tabs up. Okay. So I'm jumping into here, share screen.
Let me know if it works.
Can you see it?
Let's see. No. Oh, wait, hold on. There we go.
Yeah, it says I'm sharing. You should be able to see.
Yeah, you're good.
So basically, I'm going in here, and as I'm asking these questions, the only reason why I wanted to share my screen, guys, is because this part is like kind of confusing to a new agent. Some places have these underwriting tools. They know about them. Some places don't have them. Guys, your job is just to make it as easy as possible for you and the client, right? So
yeah,
you want to make sure that you guys have access to technology. 2023.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. So I'm literally putting their birthday in as we talk. Your height and weight, 5'6", 160. Do they smoke? Underwriting impairments, a list of medications. And I'm going to let FEX Toolkits do all the heavy lifting for me and get me the quotes down here, right?
Yeah.
So then as I'm going through the quotes, I'm going to ask them, and this is like the close, right? This is a very big piece too. I want you guys to pay attention to how we're about to close into this section here. There's two different ways you can do it, but not to be confused. I'm going to do it one way, okay? I'm gonna give them the quote that they want, whether it's a burial or a cremation. So Johnny, have you decided whether you want a casket or a cremation funeral?
I want a casket, like a traditional burial.
Okay, and you still got that pen and paper handy? I'm gonna give you a few quotes here.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
So the first quote, Johnny, I'm gonna give you is just for a traditional burial, and I just wouldn't go under this number. And it's going to be for $10,000. Okay. The second quote I'm going to give you is kind of what most of my clients go with. It's like $15,000 to $20,000. Now, again, I just want to make sure you understand how this process works. I love to paint a picture for my clients. Okay. Even if you said, "Hey, Anthony, these quotes sound great. They're wonderful. I'm ready to sign up today," Johnny, I wouldn't be able to take your money right now if I wanted to. You have to get approved for these plans. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So once you get approved, Johnny, what they're going to do is mail everything to your house. You're going to have 30 days to look it over before you have to make a final decision. You with me?
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Perfect. So then I'm going to go and quote them. For $10,000, it's $50, right? For the $15,000, it's $100. Do any of those fit your budget? Actually, a better question would be, which one of those fit your budget?
Well, yeah, I'm on a fixed income and I want to leave my kids something.
I'll always say this too. If they do say something about leaving their kids a little bit extra, Johnny, I understand that, you're doing this for your kids, right? Which is a selfless act in itself. So I will say it's easier to get approved today and take coverage away than it is to add coverage later, because you never know. You might not be in the same health later on down the road when you decide to get more coverage.
Yeah.
And that kind of helps them, make a decision about, if they want to get it. There's nothing set in stone. There's no contracts. There's no obligations. So if you ever needed to change anything, we can change them. Okay. Does the $15,000 work for you?
That's a little expensive, but is there like any other options?
Sure. Did you have a budget in mind?
I want to stay like a little under, like right around $80 a month.
Perfect. So I'm looking at my quote tool here. Still the same company, Johnny. Sometimes it switches if we mess around with the quotes. Same company, Mutual of Omaha. And it looks like I can get you that $12,000 at $80. So again, our first step is just to get you approved. Now, what's a good address that's in the policy too if you do get approved?
1717 North Ridge Drive.
There you go. You're in application. Congratulations. So instead of like going back and forth, right?
So you take the I need to think about it off the table right away. Say, hey, even it like a good word track that I've heard one of our top producers say is like, hey, even if you put a gun to my head and you pick a $300 option, I could not even give it to you. Life insurance isn't something that you can just purchase. You actually have to get approved for.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to say it.
So, yeah. So you take that I need to think about it off the table. So what if I'm like, yeah, it's too expensive.
I'm going to find something in their budget. Like I don't argue with that. And that's a good point that you brought up, right? Because not every sale is closable. And the biggest challenge with final expense telesales is persistency, right?
Yep.
So you want to make sure that you're like getting them something in your budget. Now I will say this, you can force close anything, right? Because they're not paying anything today. Hey man, I get it. It's too expensive. I'll tell you what, man, we'll just get this mailed out to your house. And you could say whatever, you know what I mean? But dude, you got to think as a business owner now, right? You're not just like a W-2 employee. You're not just a life insurance agent. Like you have to wear all hats, accounting, training, you know what I mean? Software, technical support, like sales, fronter. You have to wear all hats. So you have to think like, is this in line with your business? Is this client going to cost your business money in the long run? You have to make sure that they can afford the policy. And that's why I asked that question. Hey man, it sounds like you're a little hesitant. Is there a budget that you did have in mind?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's one thing with me. Like I'm real when it comes to like objections and stuff. Like you can use word tracks and all that stuff. Like I just keep one or two things to spit real quick. And I'm not a big fighter, dude. I grew up in like a Wolf of Wall Street kind of call center where you're squeezing the juice, you're squeezing the ROI out of every lead. Why though? Why are you doing that? Well, that's because some guy, 3 executive levels up is telling you, we need more money. We need more, it's like a money machine, right? Well, dude, you have your own business. Isn't that part of why you became a life insurance agent, to run your own business, right?
Yeah.
So you have the control to decide whether or not you want to run it like that. But that's all I was going to say about that.
Yeah, dude, that's really good. So when you get into the closing, like when you're closing objections, and like what are some of the objections that like a telesales agent would face?
Send me a quote. You get that a lot.
Well, just in closing, right? Like when you're going in for the
send it in the mail. Yeah, send it in the mail. You get that.
Yeah, I just want to get some. So let's kind of role play this, right? So somebody watching could like literally take these and start implementing, right? So they're like, You're like, hey, sounds really good, Anthony. You sound like a great guy. Can you send me something in the mail, just so I can see it in writing?
Yeah, Johnny, absolutely. So, I mean, everything that we just went over, I just want to make sure that what I'm going to send is going to be the correct information. Is the quote okay?
Yeah.
Quote's good. The death benefit, is that okay? Is that good enough?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then what's a good address to send it to?
1717 North Ridge.
You see how easy that was? You're back in an application. It's almost unbelievable. It's almost like, what did he just do? You're going to have to rewind this and replay it to figure out that I don't see that as an objection. What are we doing, right? What is the goal? Dude, is to send it in the mail anyways. Don't make it an objection, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to send it to you in the mail, brother. You got 30 days to look it all over. Now, obviously, once you get to banking and social, right, you might encounter a problem, but you know that as an agent. So now when you address that objection, you have to tell yourself, dude, I didn't build enough rapport, right? I didn't establish trust. This guy probably doesn't trust me. So now I got to bring it back to the reason that he's looking for life insurance. And 9 times out of 10, Johnny, it's always price. It's just too expensive, right? And the reason that I'm saying this is, man, I don't get objections. Like once I get past the quote, I don't get objections. Like, I don't know why. I do know why, but most agents, they talk themselves out of a sale and they don't ask for the close. If you just ask for the close and you do a good enough job explaining, and that's why I paint a picture before the quote, Johnny, before we even go over quotes, right? And you can rewind this part too. I say,
you have to.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I like to paint a picture. What they're going to do is get you approved. Once you get approved, they're going to send this to you in the mail. That way you can look it over in writing, and you'll have 30 days to make a final decision. Now, you'll even notice, dude, that was verbatim to what I said. I'm not guessing what I'm going to say. That's literally a part of my script. But I do that so I don't get objections in the end.
So what if someone's like, hey, like, so they already give you your social, you get to the banking and they're like, so talk us through your banking close.
So
like,
the
how
banking,
do you do that?
Yep, you do have to have an active checkings or savings to be eligible for these plans. Do you have either of those, Johnny?
I have a Direct Express card. Do you ask that beforehand? I was going to ask you that.
Sometimes I do. I handle Direct Express a little bit different. So I have access to carriers who will actually take Direct Express. Now, if you ask 80% of the agents in our industry whether they write Direct Express, you'll get a variety of answers. I'm always going to say, yeah, dude, I write everything, like except for direct mail.
But like, say you write an American Amicable plan, they don't take Direct Express. So what do you? So do you? That's what I'm saying. Like, do you ask that beforehand when you're in the discovery?
No, I used to, but I if they have Direct Express, I just explain to them. You know, most insurance companies, they charge like a 2 to 3% processing fee for credit cards. I could probably do it a little bit better with another company, so we'll just go that route. The name of the company is XYZ, right? And then I'm going to write them with that company.
So you'll just go back through the application with a different company?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I used to say on that, like, hey, just see if you qualify for the savings plan. Do you have an active checking account? And if they say no, like, what? Okay, like, do you have a savings account? Like, just to dig for that banking, right? And then
absolutely,
they're like, because banking's huge, right? Banking will help, especially with persistency and being able to have that. Like, and a lot of there's some carriers that won't advance on Direct Express.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're 100%
so that's why.
right.
Yeah, so I try to stay with that because it's a more solidified sale in that regard. Yeah, so you get there, okay. You ask, so you go back through, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll role play this again. Yeah, so ask that.
So you're with A+ credit union, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm with Chase Bank.
Okay, perfect. And you open that account in Texas, right?
Yeah.
So as they're telling me where they open their account, I'm in Google in another tab and I'm typing in Chase Bank routing, Texas. Boom. Okay, perfect. I just need to verify some information with you. I do have the routing number for Chase Bank as 111-000-614. Is that what you have?
I don't know.
Go ahead and grab a blank check or a statement. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. I don't have any checks.
Do you get a statement? Most people get like a paper statement in the mail.
Yeah, I do. Let me go grab it. Okay. Which number do you need on the statement?
I'm gonna verify the routing number with you. I just need to make sure it's the right one. I have 111-000-614. Is that what you show on there?
On the bank statement, I don't know if it says that.
Okay. What number do you
Where
have?
do I find that?
So I would go and Google that too. Like I'm serious. I use Google for everything.
That's it. That's it.
Like,
yeah,
like, okay.
That's it. I just wanted you to like kind of say like, okay, because
what do I do?
That's yeah, right. Like just kind of because for new agents, right? These are little tips and tricks that like a lot of sales are won and lost here. And these are just like some tactical things to use, right? So as you guys notice, when you have to ask where they open the account, and then that uses to your advantage. So you say, okay, perfect. What bank do you usually use? Wells Fargo. Okay, perfect. Did you open that one in whatever city they're in? Okay, awesome. Because sometimes the city's different too.
Yeah, the routing will be different on the city. So
yeah, but like the big banks, right? Like Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, those will always be the same usually. But what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say most companies too. So now you have to get the number right, or it'll tell you like, hey, this isn't a real bank account. So, and that's also another reason why I use one carrier. And I want any new agent listening to this, man, you guys think that you need every single carrier. Why? Because you're a broker and you can write every single, dude, you're messing yourself up in the long run. It's so much easier to just stick with one carrier. Think of the most successful final expense telesales agencies out there. I'm talking to you, Johnny, because new agents aren't going to know. North Star, MM, right? I know
Big
somebody,
time.
Anthony Martin, he only writes Mutual of Omaha, right? Assurance, they only write Primerica, or not Primerica, Lumico or Prudential, right?
Yeah.
So they keep it simple because A, it's easier to manage your book on that. B, if they have systems built out to stop banking from like being negligent, then use it. Like that's to your advantage. And it's just easier for you and the client, not necessarily the price every time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge, dude. It's funny that you say that. I actually started just writing Senior Life because they take both. So they take Direct Express and they don't advance on Direct Express, but they also have banking, and then they have like 11 different products to write. So then it's like, I took your advice on that one. I remember you saying that, and you're like, simplify your business, and that was like in January. And I think that's such a good piece of advice to any agent out there. Use one, maybe two carriers, right? Like have your go-to, and then maybe have like an AIG, or like have one carrier if they have everything with its guaranteed issue and a super preferred rating, because it simplifies it so much, right? Like a lot of times sometimes there's going to be like, sometimes there's just going to be these things that come up, and it's like, if you write all these spread carriers, you may get a charge back on a carrier you never write, right? So
exactly. Yeah. Big point right there, dude.
Yeah, bro, that's huge. So, in terms of, go ahead.
I was just going to keep expanding on the banking, right? So if they say they don't know, still, hey man, I don't even have a checkbook. You know what, dude? I don't even mess with it. All I got is a debit card. It's not a Direct Express, right? It's a bank card, right?
Yeah, a debit card.
All right, Johnny, give me 1 sec. I'm going to get them on the line. You're just going to ask them for your account number. I'm going to three-way the bank.
Oh, yeah. Like Bancorp, or like, I actually had to do that today. That one's big. Like NetSpend, you got the, what other ones are there? There's the Go-To Bank, MetaBank.
Any bank, dude. Any bank.
Yeah.
I will say, like some, like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they won't give it to the client over the phone, like some of them, but you'll never know if you never try. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and just look it up, right? Say, hey, they're a preferred vendor. Let me, because we have a great relationship with them, let me just add them to the line real quick. They'll be able to help you with that. Let me just ask them for your routing and account number. And then while you're on the call, mute out, coach them through it when you're on hold, get the routing and account number, boom, you just keep going, right? Keep going.
You know how many times I did that, man?
Dude, so many.
Right? But I got to make it real for the agents who are new watching this, dude. You got to do that sometimes, or you'll lose the sale. Like, it's these little decisions that you have to make on the fly that are going to make or break. Well, not necessarily make or break you, because you're always going to get better no matter what. Just don't give up, you know? But, dude, you got to do it sometimes, man.
You have to, right? You have to. That's huge. So, let's see. What's your schedule like?
So I normally, like, we're kind of piloting this new program with my IMO, right? So I got a couple extra meetings sprinkled in here and there, but typically I like to block my dial sessions like in 3-hour days, because I don't want to drive myself crazy, but I also want to make sure that I'm chunking enough time to be actually productive during that time. Now, while I dial, dude, nothing else matters. Like, the house has to be on fire for me to get up. Otherwise, I'm not going to get my dial. Sometimes I'll even leave my phone in a whole nother room, right? So I like to dial from like 9 to 12, sometimes even later, from like 10 to 1. And then from like 1 to 3 or 12 to 3, I'll take a break. But the break is just as important as the time to dial. And I'm going to say that again. The break is just as important. So that means no outbound dials. From like
what do you do? What do you do in that time?
I eat, if my kids are in school, I pick them up from the school bus. Maybe I'll prepare dinner, work out. I work out 2 times a day, sometimes 3 times a day. And that's pretty much it, man. I'll like take a chill for like the next 30 minutes, maybe upload some YouTube videos or something. And then I'm back on the phones from like 3 to 5 or 3 to 6.
Why is it so important to take the break? Why is it as important than the outbound dials?
So I don't I don't really believe in burnout, to be honest with you, but I look at it like the bigger picture, and I'm just able to focus on the things that I need to focus on during that extra 3 hours, like doing the laundry if I have to, little minute things that might be in the back of your head while you're dialing. You want to knock those out. Yeah, because like you'll be on the phone dialing, and like maybe you got 50 dials within 2 hours, right? And you're just like, dude, I'm gonna go switch the laundry. Switching the laundry turns into mop in the kitchen. Then it turns in, you know what I'm saying? Like your whole day's gone. So That's kind of like what my schedule looks like.
I like that idea of time blocking. I haven't done it yet, but I think it's good to take a break. It's good to like chill, like be like dialed in, focus, turn your phone on, do not disturb, mute, whatever. For me, like I hand dial still, right? So like I still dial from my phone, so like I kind of got to keep it on. That could be distracting sometimes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I think it's I think it's good though, because good to like block off the time and like just sit there, stay focused, stay dialed in, and then you take a little break, an hour break, few hour break, which is good. And it helps boost productivity, right, too, as well. What are your go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I get up early. Like, I was just talking about my schedule for work, right? Like, I get up early because I believe that personal development is your next level up. Personal development is you going from 5K a month to 5K a week and nothing else. Literally nothing else. Like, you work on yourself and you'll notice a level up regardless of what you're saying on the phone. You're just gonna be a better person that's in that position that you're currently in. So think about that. Like, you're never gonna miss, right? Because you're building the habits that create the person who's gonna be successful. You're building the habits that are going to create the person that's going to be successful, right? So I wake up early and I inflict self-adversity, right? I work out. I don't really do a cold plunge or none of that, but I whip my ass in the gym. Sorry for the language. But I work out real early in the morning. Sometimes I'll fast and I stay light on my carbs, right? And when I notice when I run these routines in very well, it takes like, what's the word? It creates predictability in your business. Because I'm doing this, and this in the morning, and then at 9 o'clock, I'm working from this time to this time, right? It creates predictability for the week. But I just wanted to add that to there.
Yeah, it's huge. What's your daily activity goals?
For the lead type, it really depends. So like I take the pre-qualified callbacks and I'm doing no less than 100, but I won't cap it. I won't put a maximum on there because again, what's more important to me is the schedule. Because if I'm sitting down dialing for 3 hours, I'm going to hit my activity goal, right? Yep. So it's either 100 dials minimum or 2 hours of talk time minimum, and that's going to be the metric to make a sale. So you guys have to figure out what lead type you're taking, what are the metrics for that lead type, and what do you have to do in order to ring that gong? Ding, make a sale.
Yeah. So what? So just 100 dials minimum. Is there a presentation goal as well, or no?
I know a lot of people, man, a lot of successful people actually that have like they track presentations and stuff like that. I don't. I just focus on the activity.
Gotcha. So you're just dialing, and what would you say you do a day? Do you not even like 3 to 5 a day? I'm assuming something like that, or you're not even totally sure.
Yeah, it's hard because sales is streaky, right? Like we're humans. So as much predictability as you want to create, you're always going to have to deal with the swing of the pendulum. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
Ups and downs. So like,
yeah, it's huge.
For instance, my last month I wrote 41,000, right? There was a whole week, Johnny, I didn't make one sale.
Wow.
So people probably like, I'll say that like 41,000 is like 10 grand a week, right? Technically, dude, I didn't make one sale from Saturday till Friday. The next Friday come around. Like,
were you dialing and putting in the activity during that time?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's the only thing that I was doing, right?
What do you feel like was not like? Were you just getting more objections than usual, or like what was coming up, or just not even able to get into those?
Yeah, I try not to. It's going to be hard for me to say this, right? Because we're veterans. So a new agent, it might be a little bit different. There might be an actual problem. But for me, I know my numbers and I trust my numbers. And that's the biggest thing, is trusting the process. And that's why it's good to know your numbers, but it's even better to put that work in. No good deed goes undone. You heard that from Napoleon Hill, right? That means if you do the work, it's going to happen. You just have to trust the process. And so on that Friday, I wrote 10 grand. Not for any other reason. This is crazy. Just me even thinking about it, bro. Like, no other reason than I put the work in and I knew it was going to happen. I can't tell you I didn't do anything differently, man. I just called my leads like I normally did. It was just ready to grow at that time.
Yeah. Do you have like people you don't close or people you're not like, or do you have a pipeline like that you put in, like that you just call back and try to like reclose or things like that?
Yeah, man. my leadership, right? They're gonna kick my ass when they hear this, right? But I'm terrible with follow-ups, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Everybody got their kryptonite, right? Like mine is following up, baby. I probably got a pipeline full of sales right now, man. But I'm like, give me the new people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I'm trying to basically create a schedule that fits that in there. But it's just when I see new leads, bro, I'm just like, man, I'm gonna dial these new folks, you know, like, because I feel like I give it my all when I quote, and that's why I think I'm the master of the one call close, because I'm painting the perfect picture. I'm overcoming the objection, and if they're just not ready to buy, they're gonna call me back, which is not the right way to think as a new agent. But for me, I can afford to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have referrals, I have new leads. I'm not really strutting for cash flow to buy new leads. As a new agent, though, I'm calling the people that I sold the next week to ask them for referrals. Like, I'm literally squeezing every little ounce I can just to, help with cash flow and stuff like that. So,
yeah. That's good. I like that. So your schedule, 3-hour blocks once a day, doing the presentation, doing the activity, constantly. What kind of leads are you working?
I just do the callbacks right now.
What else have you found success in that you would recommend for like a final expense telesales agent?
Bro, I've seen it all, man. I've seen age leads work. I've seen Facebook leads work. But I'll say this, like, you want to set yourself up for success. So get with a company that has TCPA compliance. Like, don't go out there and buy year-old age leads and like open yourself up for problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's huge. That's huge.
And that's the cool thing about Facebook. If you're good with marketing and you got the time and you're ready to like maybe take a whooping or two on some marketing mistakes you're gonna make, by all means do it. But it's just better to find someone who has a trusted lead. My IMO provides the leads, they generate them their own. But if I had to go through a vendor, I would be doing as much like marketing research as possible, making sure they're TCPA compliant, and any lead will work. The real question, Johnny, is who do you have to become to make it work regardless? There's people out there who will make it work with no leads. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll go knock doors. So you got to become the person that's going to make anything successful,
Yeah, dude, that's a really, really, really good point. I love that. What would you're training new agents now, right? Like, you're starting to take more people on and really start training agents.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, the successful agents that you're starting to train, like, what would you say, like, good characteristics that they have are?
They're just ready to fail forward. I mean, that's the best I can put it.
Huge.
Like, yeah, they're not waiting for permission to go. They're going.
Yeah, dude, that's huge. What do you feel like you found success in, like, as a final expense agent, like selling telesales? I think it's like the dream, right? I think nowadays, like, a lot of people are more transitioning to telesales, being able to sell over the phone. I mean, it's nice because literally I could wear the same thing every day. I could wear shorts and a t-shirt every day. I could be like wherever it is. Like, literally, I was in the airport the other day closing a deal. And I was like in the airport line getting ready to board, and you're closing deals because you could do it wherever. It really opens up the freedom to do this business wherever you want. I'm literally moving across the country, being able to travel while still building the final expense business. What have you found is like to be I don't know, like, let me ask it a different way, I guess. Like, what are some things that you do really well that other agents could like emulate into their final expense business?
I'm gonna just keep saying it, bro. Activity. Put the work in, and that's why that schedule that I have is so important, because you have to show up every day. And that's why another reason why I said, bro, like, personal development,
huge.
Without that, if you can't show up for yourself every day, how are you going to show up and call leads every day? Right?
Yeah,
most people don't even look at like what they put in their body. You know what I'm saying? So you're subconsciously telling yourself your worth just by what you're eating. Are you working out? Like, is your health not that important? Then how is business going to, what I'm saying? It runs in conjunction with that. So I would say, like, come up with a schedule. I say like 9 or 10, I start later because I have 3 kids. I live with them, you know what I'm saying? So like, and my wife as well. So I have to kind of adjust to their schedule, but there's people out there who don't have any kids. They have no wife. It's just them. Feel free to start earlier, make a schedule that you can stick to and try to make it like 3 hours of time, strictly production. If you're doing inbound leads, 3 hours dedicated to that, right? Outbound, 3 hours dedicated to that. and then
Huge.
create a second, 3 hours in that same day. That way you can do a minimum of 6 hours per day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's big. And I think a lot of times like people, psych themselves out of how much they're working. And I had to take that gut check and reality check too. Like, hey, I'm like putting in the hours, but like how much am I actually like sitting down, putting and just hammering the phone? And I think that's what really opened my eyes. Like, hey, a solid 30 hours of hammering the phone and dialing and talking to clients is way better than 50 hours, like half.
Dude,
like
you just touched on something huge, man, because that's what overanalyzers do, man. That's how I was when I first started. Hey, do I need a new website? Do I need a logo? Like, should I change my number? You know what I'm saying? You just get so lost in the sauce when you just like you just leave it up to the world to decide when it's a good time to dial. But when you actually like intentionally schedule your time in, you'll find that more money's hitting your bank account and you're protecting more families. And that's what matters, So what you just said is like super on point, dude.
Yeah, bro. How do you go about getting more referrals?
I ask in the application. So if you notice, like right before I got into the medical questions on the script, I said, hey, Johnny, is this just going to be a quote for you today, or you and a loved one in the home as well? All right. And then, so if they have a wife or whatever the case is, they will, here, let me show you. This is the first way, right? The first way I do it on the call, and I'll pull referrals from that. I'd say I get like 10% people, like 1 out of every 10 will have a spouse sale with it. But if you're not asking that question, man, you're leaving literally thousands of dollars on the table. So that's the first way I get the spouse sale. And then the second way, I'm going to show you right now, is these. Well, you can't really see them.
Cards.
They're just simple little thank you cards. So I'll just like put a refrigerator magnet in there with a picture of me, my license number, just like a witty little quote on that thing. And then I'll just mail it out, snail mail it. Hey, thanks for letting me help you protect. Again, I don't use beneficiary, right? I say their name. Johnny, thanks for letting me protect Susie from your financial burdens. If you need anything, feel free to reach out. And then on the back of the thing, I'll put, throw this on the fridge. And then I'll follow up with them. Hey, did you get my card? Did you, by the way, we give $25 per person that you send our way. You know anybody? Boom. And then that's it.
And how do you go about calling the beneficiary or calling the referral?
Well, I set a due date for like the next week after you make the sale, especially if it's gone to underwriting, because you kind of have to follow if it's not an instant approval, you should have a system that you can plug into, right? So that tracks the disposition of a sale. So for instance, if someone you just put through American Amicable gets referred to underwriting, it should have a disposition that says that, so that it's not an approval yet, right? Or it's not a decline yet. So I'll set a week out from the day that I sign it and submit it, right, to follow up with the carrier first, figure out the outcome so that I can keep them posted and be in front of their face. Because think about this too, guys. If you're not following up with your people on the sale, other agents are. Inadvertently, you might sell somebody, but guess what? They probably put their name through like 10 other referral things, you know what I mean? Like lead forms. So other agents are hitting them, but you already one call close them because you're watching Johnny Nitifin's channel on YouTube and you guys learn how to one call close, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
Boom. So, but you got to stay in their face. Hey, Miss Mary, just want to give you an update on your case. We're going to be able to mail this out to you by next week. And then, like you just work it in through there.
Yeah, that's huge. That's dude, that's so good. Being able to get referrals. That's something that I lack and I need to get better at, because that's just free money, bro. That's so good. And then the handwritten cards, that's huge. So, that's really good. And getting those instant approvals as well, having a carrier that will give you an instant approval to really try to get that, because if you don't, some of these clients, it's really hard to get back on the phone. So it's like crucial that you do that and get that instant approval. How do you go about getting, like, are you cool post dating business, or are you like an ASAP like king? Are you like, we're getting this done today? Or what?
I didn't even know you could post date. Like when I first started as an agent, like I said before, I come from like a background of just like hard hitting telesales, like pushing through today, right, kind of deal. But hey, dude, that's why we get advances, right? I had no idea that we get paid on a piece of business that didn't need to drive today. So I post date everything, but it allows me to build up a little bit more time to create persistency on those books, right? A little bit more trust with these clients. And so the ones that do stick on the business, you're going to be able to cross sell them Medicare. You're going to be able to sell their spouse or their children a final expense or a term policy later on down the line, because you're building up basically like a whole profile of a person who's become a part of their family. So if they want it day one, run it. You know, we can do it day one. But I use that post date as an advantage to close more deals.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant? Like, is that the question you're
asking? Yeah.
Okay,
That's it, sure. Right? Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, it's big. That's like really big. Do you sell Medicare now or no?
No, not yet. I mean, eventually we'll probably get to it. Yeah, probably. I gotta check, man, because I might have my wife jump into it first because she sits here and she sells with me. But I'm more focused on like training agents as opposed to like jumping into another industry, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, this has been really fun. This has been really good for new agents. Guys, go run it back. Drop in the comments, fire emojis for Anthony. What are your closing thoughts for a new or struggling agent wanting to crush telesales just like you are? What would your advice be to them?
Dude, become the person. Just focus on becoming the person. That's it.
Dude, that's it. That's it. Guys, if you haven't already, go check out iCrack Codes. Guys, he's got a lot of bombs that he's dropping. Really great content. I appreciate you, our friendship, being able to like be sidelines, crushing it. And it's really cool. How can people reach out to you if they want to work with you or be able to follow you on the journey?
Yeah, I crack codes on all platforms, Instagram and YouTube. I have a link as well in my IG and YouTube. So trust me, it's easy. Once you guys tap in, it's easy to hit me up.
Boom. Well, I appreciate you guys watching this. Again, go watch, rewatch the top 1% of agents. Rewatch. That's how I was able to become a top 1% telesales agent, is because I just consistently listened, watched these videos just like how you guys are doing, memorized the word tracks, and implemented them right away. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share this with a friend, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yes, I was planning on getting into the restaurant field and start a restaurant.
Yeah.
And then I realized the COVID started, and it wasn't that something that I gonna profit out of. So at this point, I decided to look at different routes, and that's how I connected with Dan. And we decided I decided to get into the insurance business, and that's been a blessing since then. I mean, we're doing pretty well now, and we're very happy.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So you get into the final expense industry or life insurance space. Talk us through like what your mindset was like coming out the gate, because you haven't been in here a long time. Like, how many years have you been doing life insurance?
3 years. The one thing is, I would say, I mean, hard work pays off, right? You either have time or money. And the one thing I would tell you here, bud, if you have time, you have no money. If you have money, you have no time.
Yeah.
So in order for you, what you really want to do a little bit better here is make the money and then stop buying your time back. So right now you have the time, you have no money. Go ahead and work. You gotta work your butt off. And the other thing that I actually realized, being in this business, it's the actual, I get a lot of people that, they're negative, right? They say, okay, I'm not where I'm going to be because of my upline, or I'm not selling because of this, or the lead suck, or, quit me, and those are just excuses that we actually, convincing ourselves, off, because we want to like feel good about ourselves,
Right.
So, it makes you feel good for you, but yet you're not producing anything. So the reality is, if you want to produce on a high level, number one, put all the negativity on the side, put all the, you're going to get charged back. You're going to get your, you're going to have to buy leads. You're going to have to pay for marketing. You're going to have to, those are very normal. And if you're not willing to do stuff like that, if you're not willing to take in risks, right, you're never going to make it in the insurance field.
Yeah. So you have to take risks and talk us through your mindset. Like, you going into 2022 was last year, being able to do 1.4 million. Like, was it your goal to hit 1 million, or like talk us through your mindset on that?
So my goal is to hit over a mil, correct. I was competing, and obviously I'm not competing anymore. But in I was competing in the insurance, and with other guys within the IMOs, and yeah, I mean that was my motivation. Now, like I said, I put my time back, and now I get to enjoy life a little bit more. I get to travel a little bit more. I mean, I've been in, a couple of countries this year already, and still
Yeah.
do what I love. In the first year, I would say work really, really hard, make the money you need to make, and then start buying your time back slowly, and that's the one thing that I've done a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, we got somebody saying 1.4 million is beast mode. Yeah, so you that's crazy. So I want to go like really tactical here, like for somebody wanting to do that type of volume. Um like how are you able to do it? Like what are some actual things that people can start implementing into their business if they're wanting to hit 150,000 a month just solo producing?
So the one thing I'll do a little difference is putting a lot of efforts, and like when I mentioned buy your time back. So I'm setting an example here. If I set myself up into the IUL, right, or forget the IUL in general, right, 2 days of field I was dialing to book my appointments, and then one day a week that was for chargeback, policy bend, lab spendings and requirement policy has need requirement. Those are the stuff that I was working on. So 3 days I'm out of the field, right? Then of
Wow.
course, in between field, when I was running appointments, I was doing it 2 hours after 2 hours, hour and a half after hour and a half, just because I was dedicating 15-minute interviews with agents, potential agents that want to be part of the team. That's another
Yeah.
time consuming that I'm taking out of my field. So I started realizing, okay, what can I do to improve that? So a couple of things I've done. I'm making the money, right? Take that some of that money, put it back into the business, such as hire staff, hire somebody who can recruit. This is done and all good to go. Next thing you do is hire, somebody to do, admin, to do all the lab spending policies. So now guess what I just did? I'm running my appointments hour after hour because now I don't need to do 15-minute interviews every day, bunch of interviews.
Yeah.
And I actually saved myself a day in the field. So right now I don't have to take care of any of the admin stuff. I'm in the field now running more appointments. But running
Yeah.
more appointments are, I have more activities.
Yeah.
Now I got 2 more days here that I'm running, that I'm dialing. That's when I start hiring a dialer. I improve my income. I start making more money doing that. Took that money out and hired a dialer. If you're averaging $4,000 in sales per day, you shouldn't have no problem hiring someone to help you with admin stuff, dialing, and all that fun stuff, right? So that's what basically I did. I took that out, and I went ahead and started to help with dialing. So right now I went fully sales, and my team is getting built, and of course helping my team out and all that fun stuff.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
how I put my time back. And as I did that, slowly I started transitioning to an IUL and learning all the virtual sales, which actually helped out a lot. The thing is, he says I can, he says I can, they both are right. You gotta take the risk and you gotta make it happen, and you gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah, you guys better get pens and papers out. This is straight gold. He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. So you so talk us through this, right? So you like throughout that time, even when you did have a dialer, were you still dialing out as well?
Yeah, I have. My dollar wasn't as great as they should be, so I was still dialing. Otherwise, I would not have the same appointments I usually have with. So I had still to dial, and I had to work really hard toward changing dialers as I go until I found the right one, right? The certain things is if you're afraid to invest, oh, I don't know if I can afford it. Well, here's the thing: what you're gonna look for is this, right? Can it improve your business? So the